Everything he said, everything he done, don't you know it's been hard to me? Took a shallow blow from behind, you know it. Too bad that I'm still walking, babe. And I knew it, that you would be wrong, but my heart made a fool of me. Think I'm done, but baby, when I'm done, you know a different side of me. You're here for a fight, then I'm ready. As hard as you try, you can't bruise my armor. Can't bruise my armor. Give you dips for a shot, take a hit and run. No point hiding, I'll find a way. Bet it hurts you to know that I'm finding my own. So much better without you, babe. You're here for a fight, then I'm ready. As hard as you try, you can't bruise my armor. Can't bruise my armor. You can't take me down when I'm steady. I'm built from the ground. You can't bruise my armor. Can't bruise my armor. You're all out of rounds. If I was you, yeah, I'd be scared of me. You're out of rounds and out of scratching me. What goes around comes back around until you're upside down. Tables turning now. If I was you, yeah, I'd be scared of me. You're out of rounds and out of scratching me. What goes around comes back around until you're upside down. Tables turning now. You're here for a fight, then I'm ready. As hard as you try, you can't bruise my armor. Can't bruise my armor. Can't bruise my armor. You can't take me down when I'm steady. I'm built from the ground. You can't bruise my armor. Can't bruise my armor. You're all out of rounds.
Take another tumble, running through the jungle. I know what you came for, but this is what you came for. Riding through the downtown, running from the countdown. I know what you came for, honey, but this is what you came for. Oh, I know I got no excuse, living a lie, but I'm telling the truth. Baby, I know I got no excuse, so cut me loose, cut me loose. This is what you came for, oh. 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 This
into the match. Game 5. The silver has been scraped, and we are into picks and bans. Talia and Rise on the side of Clutch Gaming. See that Gangplank and Azir, something Feppagoon was able to control the game with very well. We have yet to see that Talia throughout this matchup. Thresh gets taken away from Hakuo. One final ban before we get into the picks.
Swain is what I expect here from Clutch Gaming.
And it's a triple mid lane ban this time, red side from Clutch. So the Rise, the Talia, and the Swain.
Yeah, you expect Kate, and then I would say Xayah Rakan is not what you should go for here because Morgana is still up, and it's kind of the Kate, the counter.
At the same time, though, 100 Thieves had the option last game, and they chose to take the Tahm Kench instead of the Morgana. So maybe they're comfortable to go for it once more. They will not, but I'm very excited to see some of the adaptations. You know, does someday, and do 100 Thieves think that, okay, it wasn't matchup on the top, it just things went bad with the jungle pressure? You know, is that the reason we lost, or are they saying, no, I can't play that matchup? You know, where are the adaptations coming in the top lane? Because that has been, I think, you know, while most of the games decided in the bottom lane, the top lane has been very matchup dependent, has been very pivotal in getting your team that extra gold. Because when Someday had that Cho'Gath, he was picking up the turrets, and now on this Sion versus Shen, there's a turn for Solo to grab some of the turret gold.
And like you said, that top lane was a big part of it, but I also think the jungle matchup too, because Meteos got to play Olaf 3 games in a row, and now Lyra's taken it away.
He's been in all 5 games.
Exactly. So Lyra's been able to take it away in the last one and have it here too. Blinding Camille would be big, but I don't think he's going to do it. You pick your jungler here and try to get a better matchup.
Well, I actually really like the Trundle here in this specific spot because you don't know if it's top or jungle, right? Yep. Yes, it is more likely for it to be jungle against the Olaf, but then if we see, you know, perhaps a really good matchup in the top lane, like you pick a Cho'Gath or something like that, Trundle can do very well into those, so that could be pretty nice. Wouldn't be surprised to see either LeBlanc or the Corki. I think both of those are pretty solid answers from Fevvin into the Galio, things that can sometimes take advantage, but he is obviously going for the Ezreal there and already had the Orianna locked in.
But once again, it looks like 100 Thieves so far gravitating towards a Cody Sun-centered team depending on what happens with that top lane, because the Galio is a big beefy tank, can go mid or top, and then the Trundle, another person who also lowers the tankiness of his opposition. So you're looking at Cody Sun dealing a lot of damage in these fights and having a strong, beefy front line so far. I imagine Morgana would be kind of what they want on 100 Thieves side here. Potentially Braum also would be a little bit further down the tier list for them. But those are kind of the two I'm looking at here to buff up Cody Sun during the lane phase and help him later.
Yeah, and Cho'Gath is going to be banned away, so that's still going to be unavailable here. 400 Thieves, and Solo has the ability to actually save his pick for last, as they did most recently. But in that game where they actually did the Alistar blind, it really did not really work out for Hakuo. You know, picking that without seeing some of those final picks, and it didn't really end up giving him a lot of options for who to engage on.
Yeah, potentially, like I said, the Braum or Morgana. I think both teams are kind of highly prioritizing that here. 100 Thieves, I wonder if they'll ban another support here, because then it's potential for Clutch Gaming to just take kind of the other one of those two that are really up there in the tier list. But the Alistar making sure they don't go for that blind again.
That's pretty interesting because you can just, as you said, grab the Braum, but then maybe they're feeling like, hey, Morgana's actually a pretty good matchup into the Braum, and Morgana plus Caitlyn should be a pretty heavily advantaged into an Ezreal plus Braum, but at the same time, you know, it can go the other way. Maybe the Morgana does finally get picked up here for Hakuo because has been getting banned away. Okay.
So the Ornn was left up here. I believe it's been banned in every game except for, it looks like game 2. So 100 Thieves have just been saying, let's not have Solo on that champion. I mean, he solo killed Hansor on it, and then he was able to make a lot of plays on that champion too. The team fighting ultimate is huge.
And the question becomes, is Someday willing to now pick a carry into this, or is he just going to grab a Sion or a Shen for himself and just say, all right, we're just going to play that even, and there is your answer?
I think it's Sion and Braum. I think you go Braum here so you can stop the Ornn ultimate and kind of negate what he wants to do in these team fights.
I think that's a good call out. You know, the Braum into the Ornn is very strong. It may give you a bit more of a disadvantage in that bot lane 2v2, and then it just becomes, what do you prioritize more? Do you prioritize the team fighting, or do you say, hey, Afro, win bottom lane for us, get on a range support, and it is going to be the Braum.
Yeah, it just seems to be stopping the Ornn, which was a big pain point for them in terms of pick and ban. They've been banning it the whole time, so make sure that that's okay. Now you have 4 tanks and a Cody. as your team composition, a classic here.
Yeah.
And they won last time with this, right? This was kind of 2 games ago, in Game 3, essentially the draft that they got. But Hakuo is going to get his Morgana. This is a big-time player on his signature pick in Game 5. And I've got to say, I like it. I like it a lot. I do think that this is what you want to do. You want to enable your star players to really take over a game. Give them that opportunity. You have Lyra, who has been fantastic on the Olaf, and you have Hakuo on this playmaking Morgana, Apollo on this mobile AD carry, which he has really been excelling on, and this is going to be a very exciting game.
I love it. You find players' ability to step up towards the end of a season really shining through here as well. So we have 20 seconds to get into our final game, 100 Thieves versus Clutch. As Clutch is, or 100 Thieves, I should say, back on that blue side. Fun fact, well, depending on who you are, coming into this probably has yet to take a semifinals in the LCS. So he's looking to break that as well.
And never made the trip to the finals. He was coaching in the ULCS. He's actually won Coach of the Split multiple times, but never been in a final, which is a crazy stat to me. But this is for all the marbles. Game 5, semifinals.
Yep.
Winner will face Liquid for the NALCS championship.
Absolutely crazy. We're moments from the rift here in Game 5. The crowd is pumped and patiently waiting. They knew it was going to 5. They're just like, let's get there already. But it was an awesome show from both teams along the way. And now we are presented with this beautiful 5th game here.
And so far, we've seen decent invades, or at least pushes early. I wonder what it is for Game 5, because people will typically play safer, play a fan out. But we've seen a lot of invades, especially with something like Braum.
And that's why sometimes being aggressive there can catch people off guard. I mean, when you're playing a Morgana plus an Olaf, certainly some strong level 1 potential to catch people, but it is going to be field of scrimmage for both teams. And to talk a little bit about the 100 Thieves side, this is very clearly a team fighting squad, right? It is 4 tanks and a Cody Sun, as you said, and you also have Trundle to shred through that Braum, or the Ornn or the Olaf there with his ultimate is going to make you a lot more susceptible to getting burst down.
Yeah, and another great thing about the Trundle is you typically say, okay, just the ultimate will actually add the utility, but the pillar is huge, and then press the attack. Enhances the damage of other people on your team once you proc it, and so the press the attack is also very effective against tanks. So he's a great duelist. He de-tanks tanks, I guess? Like, makes him squishier.
Untankify.
Yeah.
Oh, Hakuo is going to get stunned here.
Ooh, and the flash. We saw that happen in Game 1.
That was kind of cocky from Hakuo, honestly, to be sticking around that long. He missed multiple bindings in a row, still just trying to fish for a little bit of Spell Thief Scold, and 100 Thieves kind of make a collapse there. They're going to punish him. Starting flashless really sucks in these sorts of matches. When you are a ranged support, you want to be more aggressive, you want to be pushing up, but being down a flash means you can just get straight up run down.
Exactly, and against a Braum who's going to be able to W to a minion, hit you, and we've seen Afro will be very confident in those flash Q plays where he just gets right up in your face so he can't really miss it and then be able to burst you. So we'll see what Hakuo does here. I expect the E to come in level 2 just to make sure. But 100 Thieves, if they are somehow able to get the push here, which they are, they're going to be level 2 first. And this is a big deny here from Clutch.
Quick hits, a few more tags. Not look like they're going to do too much on this. And slowly denying minions. Nice push up from Cody Sun there.
Yeah, it's like he ate a Q. How bad? But he's actually blocking so that the Ezreal can't get that last hit. He's actually sacrificing his life so that Apollo doesn't get gold.
And when you do have, overheal and you have your Endurance Shield and so on and so forth, you're able to do that a little bit more aggressively, sometimes trading out your life if you are sitting on full. But top lane is going to be very interesting to me to see really who gets the advantage. You can see somebody on the Scion kind of take a page out of Solo's book, and he is going minion dematerializer to deal with any potential banner shenanigans. And also, it is nice, even if there is not a banner, just to be able to use it on cannons and get the faster roam, because there is the potential for you to move over towards mid lane and try to catch someone with an ult.
They see him, but I don't think they can do anything about this. Olaf's clear is too fast and too healthy.
Pushed up as well from Bepavin. Just had the...
Not healthy, but...
They just
I mean,
had
clear
the wave
healthy
in favor.
Yeah, I mean in clear speed. That's usually how I say it. It's just like, if you can clear the jungle quickly, it's a healthy clear, but... I will have to change my own terminology for that.
There you go. Learning on the fly. Just 3 minutes in. I'm back here from Ryu. Get himself sorted. Febvin as well might take this time to go back. He might slip one more wave, it seems. He feels like the pressure is going to be added there. A teleport in from Ryu, and now there'll be a little bit of an item mismatch. Never mind, he's
because
back.
of the base timings, if Evan leaves here, he's actually going to get stopped. But
right.
He would have lost that wave because there's not a cannon wave he's basing on, so it is a tough time to actually go back to base. And in the previous game when they had this matchup, Evan was able to actually have the push heavily enough that Ryu had to base under his own turret, and thus that gave Febvin a chance. And we might see Lyra just need to walk into mid lane and help him shove this out to actually get a good back off. Lyra is spotted out on that ward, doesn't know it, and don't think we'll see the trend of super early dragons continue when his bottom lane is pushed in. That would just be way too risky.
Yeah, it doesn't have Scuttle Crab either, so it would be actually a death sentence.
You can still try.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Someone's got to get threshed in this game somehow.
Yeah.
It's Afro Moon, it's Aqua. We haven't gotten it once.
Yeah, it's gotten banned multiple times, but
Feels bad.
yeah, definitely don't do the Drake there, despite what Riv and Solo Q will tell you.
Hey,
Or alternatively, try it and see what happens.
there you go. You're living on the edge. That's the way it makes it fun.
Exactly.
Where's the pressure going to be
Gotta
first?
risk it.
Up towards his red, but up towards the top side of the map. More so Lyra taking definitely more jungle-oriented paths than we saw Meteos lane.
Top lane, top lane. He's going top right now, and somebody's in a bad spot.
Coming out of the jungle once again, under total lockdown right before he flashed, which added the slow, really negating the fact that he tried to get distance.
The position there was fantastic from Solo. This is why they've been banning his Ornn away. He actually uses the Ornn Q next to walls to increase the terrain and actually block you off. He did it against Hanser, knocking the Camille E out and getting a solo kill, and now he's doing it up against Someday, kind of stopping his pathing.
But I would say this is actually not a bad trade, 400 Thieves, if they're able to secure this Infernal. Meteos is there, they have the pushing bottom lane, they have the pushing mid lane, so Infernal for first blood, while it is more power in the pockets of Clutch right now, the way the series has been going, all the games have been long. And you definitely will favor the Infernal over that couple hundred gold in a long game.
Ooh, another Infernal? I guess that's Infernal
Ooh.
number 2 is what we're getting next. And yeah, 100 Thieves will want to revisit that, but watch how he uses it. The Q comes up behind Someday, so Someday can't really retreat the same way he'd like. And then Solo puts himself between the pillar and the minion, so he actually blocks him off.
And honestly, Someday had no business flashing there. With an Olaf up in your face with that, if you get tagged by an Axe, there's no way you're getting out. If you're level 6, I can see the flash into ultimate as an escape, but at level 5, I think you just have to accept your death and hold on to that summoner because you're only exposing yourself more to the repeat game.
Small plus for Someday. It was a bit pushed up, so he got to walk back to lane before missing too much. Back to this cannon wave, so 36 to 34. But that pressure now towards topside. We heard the analyst desk reference in the beginning of the day, Solo with that jungle proximity, most solo deaths, but also not getting a lot of proximity himself is getting a little love from Lyra this series, and it's really helping out the competition.
And it's always interesting to see those mix-ups. I always think it is intelligent, even if it's not going to be your long-term game plan. Every once in a while, do an invade. Every once in a while, hard camp a lane you never go to. Because then your opponents have to at least give you the respect that it could happen. Even if it never happens again. It's something that has to be in their back of their minds, because when you never go top laners get to play so aggressively and with so much disrespect to the jungle, and that allows them to have more of an advantage against Solo.
And if they aren't respecting it, it'll be able to get you a game like we just saw in that first one there, I guess the last game, was if they're not respecting it, it could get you a game, and then they learn from that one and have to protect afterwards. So we're seeing kind of the adjustments here, but Someday still died after shoving there, and Lyra's just making a great kind of change to his jungle. It's hard to figure this guy out, and people talk about it all the time where you don't know what Lyra's going to do because he changes it up constantly and thinks about what you think he's going to do and does sometimes the opposite.
And it's also really nice to see him back in form, because it has been a while.
Yeah.
He had a rough split or two, but it wasn't that long ago that he was, the best jungler in the league. He was voted, I believe it was 2016 spring, I want to say.
I think it was a year ago. In 2017 spring, when he first came over here onto Envy.
Wearing multiple hats. Called him Coach Lyra because everybody just kind of listened to what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even really have a traditional coach. They had more of a lifestyle coach with Violet, I believe it was, and he was teaching them a lot of the game. And when people kind of criticized him somewhat for not being a tank player, but now he's looking incredibly good on tanks, right? It took him some time to actually adapt his playstyle, because in the past, he was the Lee Sin guy, the Nidalee guy, he'd take over games, and he even was pretty vocal at the start of the split saying, yeah, I have to change my playstyle, it's very new. He's undefeated on Skarner, he's looking incredible on Olaf, and And this is a guy who has adapted and shaped himself to the new meta, and as a result, has his team one game from the finals.
Yeah, he was always about counter jungling, getting a large advantage there, but now everybody plays these farm junglers where it's like pretty trivial to farm your jungle, gets him out on the map, and so he's learned to be very aggressive, kind of readopt the Elise playstyle of diving early on underneath turrets alongside his team and then finding plays later. I really think about Lyra's Skarner plays back when he was taking cleanse in fights, starting off on the right foot.
Here he is on bot side. They have Morgana ulti.
Cavalry. Oh, I didn't activate it.
Gonna push out.
Just walks in.
Very anticlimactic.
That's my kind of gank. Run up, get some CS.
Run in, smite the cannon. Don't worry, guys, I'm here.
Helping him. I'm helping you shove.
Making space.
See, look at it. They're taking damage.
There we go.
Apollo took a few hits there to kind of draw Cody's son in. Undertow! Reckless swing. True Shot Barrage fires through. Few final touches. A shift forward. No! Lyra's going to get that health back as he swings away. Very nicely done. Great gank and good follow.
Flawless gank, like we said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, jeez.
They saw it coming, and then he walked away, and I guess they didn't see the next one coming. They didn't respect
There's
you
no
on that
counterplay. You just
side.
came back. You're supposed to leave after you come the first time.
So Apollo took quite a few shots there, and it made him think it looked a little bit better than it was, definitely.
I love this so much because now Solo is protecting the jungle, at least seeing it here. And Meteos took the blast cone, so now Solo
It's coming up.
Few hits. No blast cone there, so it's going to be a long walk out. Falls on to Solo right now. He could get a lot of damage. Nicely done. From bottom lane to top lane. How did Lyra move that
Lyra
fast?
ran all the way across the map, and he says, thanks for the leash. Takes the kill and the red buff back. I mean, that is he's a globetrotter at this point, just running everywhere.
Yeah, so what happened was, hold on, okay, he's gonna get away, is Lyra backed, and when you're on the bottom side, the standard counter jungle is to go to the enemy top side and punish him, but Solo covers that because the Scion backs. But right here, Hakuho, the flash ulti, still catches Cody's son. The range afterwards, he doesn't flash immediately, the tether will connect, and the slow makes it so that he doesn't cover those extra units.
And the fact that Meteos actually did his full Wolves camp first before going to the red meant they had time to get up there because he was on his side of the jungle. He clears first, then he goes over, and just enough time and really good team play from Clutch covering each other on both sides of the map.
Gotta say, it's an awful play from Meteos, though, because Scion was back, Someday was back, didn't have TP, and Solo walks in, Ward sees it, can prepare, it's basically get all of his ducks in a line there to go, hey, let's hit the blast cone, let's get ready, everybody ready for this? Never been collapsed, and then he just gets taken out. Now we're looking at Clutch Gaming, 3-0 in kills right now, pressure in a lot of these lanes, up against 100 Thieves.
Those some disorderly ducks. You can't make that play without your ducks in a row.
Wow, guys. See what Clutch Gaming can do from here on out. Looking so loose, if you will, in their play. And it's kind of the same thing that happened versus TSM. They did win that first game, and the confidence in just them saying, when we won that game, we knew we could win the rest. We just had to play our game. Means they don't feel like they have to pressure anything too much. They're not in their own heads to go, oh, we need to get that last play. They're okay with small advantages, and it's just escalating for them into these advantages.
And I gotta say, Lyra's clever pathing in both the TSM series and in this one is what really gives Clutch an edge over other junglers and gives them edges in their lanes.
Another big point of contention here, though, is going to be this second Infernal. We talked about it in the previous time it came up in this series. 2 Infernals is such a big edge. Meteos is down here on the bottom side. They want to try to get a kill on the bottom lane, then snowball that into a dragon.
And you can see Lyra actually going for a back here.
Seems like pretty risky timing. I mean,
1,300 gold, so
it's tough because you want to be as strong as possible for this fight. I mean, Fevin just got his base off and completed his full first item. TP is available from Solo, almost available from Sunday, but he's kind of inching his way down. And this is something where Clutch really want to even it out and take this Infernal back. But if you lose a team fight and you give up the second Infernal, then you've lost control of the game.
Yeah, this is where 100 Thieves really have to approach this fight correctly. They don't have flashes on their bottom lane. Cody Sun is a huge part of this team composition, and then they are down in gold in the first place. So they're chunking out Apollo and dealing some damage to this turret to try and dissuade a Dragon contest in the near future, but might be rough.
Yeah, I actually really like this. Solo is roaming down right now. Someday went back to base, so he's going to, at the very least, force his opponent's teleport if he wants to match, and we'll see. If Clutch is willing to commit to this play, I think you should just go for it.
We bannered the mid.
Oh, that's hilarious. He's actually just going to banner that to create pressure, and they could perhaps use that to now start the Dragon, because Ryu is going to have to answer that, and it'll take him quite some time, but still not committing to it. So
yeah, they bannered both sides, so now Solo has to say, dang, I got to go back upside. They got a banner up top, we got a banner in the mid lane, as both of them complete that item at just about the same time. Febiven's going to go ahead and grab up this blue. Top turret didn't even take that much. Might be down to half by the time they get that out of there.
That minion still does a lot of damage.
Soon.
It's not fair and up.
TM.
But he gets it, knocks it down. And the Infernal Drake still on the table. Junglers still have not backed and purchased. 1,000 gold for Meteos, 1,600 for Lyra, and you want to be very strong here, but remember the bottom lane doesn't have flashes here. Aphromoos just came up.
And the longer that Clutch waits, I mean, their turret in the bottom lane is getting whittled down. You don't want to just give up that turret in the straight up 2v2. It's getting really, really low here. So they would like to make a play, try to get a kill, try to stop something, and get that Infernal, but they're having trouble really finding the opening, and Lyra just goes back to base, so he's going to spend up his gold.
I think Lyra was spotted on the bottom side going towards that brush, so the bottom lane will play a little safe. Meteos was hovering, but now he actually gets to back, purchase, and if they go for a Drake, Meteos hasn't backed because he's still hovering, a little paranoid that Lyra might be here still.
I've actually got to say, I'm a little bit surprised to see Iceborne as the choice from Apollo instead of Triforce, because there's not a tremendous amount of physical damage really on this other team. It mostly is just that Caitlyn as kind of that physical damage threat. Yes, Trundle could get up on you, but it's probably unlikely that he's going to be dealing consistent damage. And I do think that Triforce really helps you to have that extra DPS to punch through 4-man frontline, which is kind of the reality he's going to be facing. But at the same time, you can argue the kiting that can come out there. So it is some give and take, but I'm always more on the side of, hey, you need to do enough damage to actually pressure these guys, and Ezreal's already very low on tank.
Yeah, but like the only way that the Scion will reach you or the Trundle will reach you is by running at your face most of the time. So indexing for that, I think more likely. Oh my, your April Fool is me, Azael 3 times.
It's so good. We got to put like a button over your cough.
He's been trying to like cover my cough button so he doesn't do it, but it's happened so much. But anyway, during that, Infernal Drake does go over to Clutch Gaming, so we're even there.
That's their next move, however. Lyra towards the top side of the map is bottoms clear, so they may make the look of play onto Someday and in some extended period. A little bit of speed assistance possibly for Lyra. No, just a shield. Here you go, buddy. Good guy, Febiven and Broman. Nothing crazy happening around the map. TPs are up for both of the top side. As bot gets dropped, we'll see where 100 Thieves can start to distribute this extra pressure of Cody Sun and Aphromoo.
Yeah, honestly, a really good job on the bottom side of the map here from 100 Thieves. Cody Sun and Aphromoo able to knock down that turret in the straight up 2v2. They're trying to rotate top and create pressure up there, but I mean, they're the ones with the range support. They're the ones who, generally speaking, you look at that and you say, okay, you're supposed to be dictating the pace of this lane. But the Braum and Caitlyn come out ahead.
Oh, wow. Shockwave there from Febiven actually gets the heal out of Cody Sun, hitting 2 there. They're all trying to rotate to the top side. Hakuo zoning as this Rift Herald very low. He'll have the eye open one more time. You got to hit the eye and smite, but... Oh.
TP. Solo's in. Someday shouts. Puts himself into Solo. They got to be careful. Lyra's trying to get her on the outside, but he's facing Meteos as Ryu's up and down. They want to flash forward to get the taunt on, but it does not lock down the Ragnarok. Olaf. Lyra is trying to get himself out right now as Solo. Call the Forge God will slow down the fight, but Clutch Gaming loses ground for the first time here in Game 5.
They do get the Rift Herald, though, and they are going to all get out, so it just comes down to, can 100 Thieves continue this push and actually get something else off of it?
Yeah, potentially get this turret here, because all 5 of them are up here. Rift Herald was picked up as well, so Lyra has that, but the bottom side, we do, actually mid lane, we have Someday here, just knocking down this turret too. So the map advantage going to 100 Thieves, despite Clutch being the ones who had started that.
Quick hits. Where do they go here now? Solo or Someday's going to just stay. He says, yeah, you're going to back. Febiven will clear mid. And it does look like they'll actually take a breather.
I'm going to be really interested to see what Clutch can actually get with that Rift Herald buff, because when you look back to last game, they had a massive power play. Got a couple of kills, knocked down both the mid lane turrets, and that really was the biggest swing in that last game. But so far, 100 Thieves, despite the fact that they are down on kills, they are the ones who have been really kind of eking out these little edges, these little advantages with Cody Sun and Aphromoo constantly pushing up, constantly pressuring these turrets, and they're going to be pretty comfortable just continue to do this. Unless Clutch actually pulls the trigger and makes a play to start something off, they'll just continue pushing nonstop in the 2v2.
And they don't have that same type of go button that's up to them and very available all the time like they did with the Rakan. For Hakuo, it's landing a binding, flash ultimate, so it's flash dependent here without Summoner Spellbook. And that's really the kind of key for them to go. So they have to have other people like Lyra and Solo key off of that.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see if they are going to move those pieces around. Are you going to make that 4-man play? Are you going to try to do that? Because that is pretty difficult into a Galio as well. And Ryu certainly can roam to match and turn around some of those plays pretty heavily if the Galio can come in. So it's always a give and take there, but you don't want to be bleeding turrets. You don't want to be kind of losing these objectives slowly over time. Or you can end up in that situation where, similarly to the Cho'Gath earlier, where he's just chipping away, getting more and more gold for the team. And it's not just about the advantages he's establishing for himself, it's about the global gold and the edges he's gaining for the rest of people around the map.
Slow clears of round. Nobody actually getting too big of a lead in the CS department. We see the bot lane in favor of Cody some, but we have not seen him tack on that damage just yet. The fight we had was Clutch Gaming kind of focused on Herald. They back off, and now they're kind of sorting out what's the next fight. We've actually seen both teams in these games just go head-to-head, and that may be what's happening.
Now they're using Rift Herald mid, and that turret is still incredibly low, so this Rift Herald will take that down and get them one back here.
Huzzah!
Clutch Gaming up 1,000 gold, but this entire series has been so close every single game. It's actually a ridiculous best of 5 where you just think about the #1 versus 6 team and how all these games have come down to a Baron on the setup to it in a fight.
Well, and the craziest part is how Clutch had basically one win against the remaining teams in playoffs going into the semifinals, and it was against Echo Fox. They had one win against Echo Fox, no wins against TL, no wins against 100 Thieves. They're supposed to get smashed, and it's game 5, incredibly close. They are in the advantage right now, and it's gonna again come down to playmaking, come down to team fighting, come down to that play around the Baron. Because both these teams are playing very patiently, are playing a very measured game, and it's been that way the whole day.
And it feels like both of their strengths, so they're both comfortable playing to it. The baits around Baron for Clutch, the Baron attempts for 100 Thieves in the setup, and playing around Cody. And Cody's the guy that I am looking at here for 100 Thieves because he has to be able to deal the damage, and that means that Ryu, Someday, and Meteos and Apple will all have to set him up. But I'm really watching Cody here because you know that Clutch are watching him in particular, saying that's the guy we have to look at in these team fights.
Exactly, and if you make that one mistake, even if you are fully enabled with 4 men in front of you, you make that one mistake, you get caught by that Febivan Shockwave, that can be the end of the game. So a lot of pressure on this young player's shoulders here. And he's on a team of veterans, but they have that trust in him. They know that he is able to kind of step up to the plate and make the plays in these late games especially. That is really where he has shined all year long.
And it's funny because we're talking about Cody's son, this young player, but Solo is pretty much the youngest player out of all 4 of the remaining playoff teams, counting Echo Fox as a top 4 there, where Solo, he has the least experience as well. Right? He came in as basically a rookie.
And that was focused by teams.
Yeah, they focused him down because he didn't really get much help and they played elsewhere, but Solo is truly very close to being a rookie in terms of he only played a few games as a sub ahead of time for Echo Fox, and then he played this split. This is his first full split on a team, and he has been performing incredibly well in playoffs up against people like Hanser and Someday, holding his own, and honestly not really costing much of anything. The matchups of the Cho'Gath were an issue and they banned those out, but now you see he provides pressure and Lyra can now play to him.
Go figure. Solo, great team player. April Fools.
And I mean, even in those disadvantageous matchups, he's really good in team fights. And that's one of the things that has been very impactful about his play and has been something that I've always been pretty impressed by is they put him in all of these positions. They often do not give him help. They give him losing matchups, and he loses gracefully. He gives up the minimum. That is something that is a very undervalued skill in League of Legends in general, not just in professional play, is that the game does not always have to be about you. And it's kind of funny to say, but that's something that Solo really embodies. I mean, they focus more on Febivan, they focus more on Apollo, and really snowballing and carrying through those lanes. But if you do that and your top laner just gets blasted every game, well, it doesn't matter if you got advantages elsewhere because now you're still behind.
And it feels good to be able to work in this window you don't ever really think about, where you have actually capitalized and gotten a lot better on your play, but nobody's recognized it or given you that respect to catch up, and you have this period of time where you can actually make those plays happen. And we actually had a lot of the teams in playoffs say, Clutch is probably one of the weakest teams in playoffs. So that was almost expected from a lot of the teams they would face, and we're seeing a completely different Clutch now.
I think it was Double Lift who said Clutch is the weakest team in playoffs.
Right.
Just a week ago. And he may potentially be playing them in the
Reconsider
finals.
that statement.
He also said there was 5 good teams at Echo Box.
Yeah, he changes his mind a lot.
Very true. So far, a good bit of map opened up on this one. We're only 23 minutes in, so we're going to get a lot of back and forth here through the jungle. Not much vision, rather, is placed to keep those movements safe. So things get a little crazy here. This is what it creates. Not enough vision on the map, and just right under their noses, coming through a little late. They are still going to have to respect it.
But
100 Thieves wants to check.
I do really like the attempt there from Clutch, right? Started up, they're not committing to it. It's a 3-man Baron. If it gets spotted out, great, back off. If it doesn't, hey, maybe you just snuck a series win right under their noses. So I do think those are smart attempts, and so far the game just staying very, very stable, and it may be a play just like that that really does decide it, because it's going to be someone making a big play. There's going to be a hero in this game, because when you get to the later stages, it's about those team fights and it's about the initiations. Who can really pull it off? Which AD carry can stay safe and take over?
That is the question. Those are the ones I'm watching. Not so much on Ryu this time. Febvin Apollo, those squishies. We'll see Ryu going in and Cody Sun on the other side as these fights come to fruition here. A lot of things are going to be crossing their paths. Someday and Solo going to be taking out these fights. You see Clutch Gaming just saying, stop the backs, give us a little more breathing room on the map as they set up to get 25 minutes in. A Mountain Drake next as well.
Ooh, yeah, they could even up the Drakes 2 apiece, but double Mountain Drake just means that Baron for 100 Thieves would be so easy to do. Despite their composition looking like it's pretty much just Cody Sun for damage, when you have the time to just stand there and wail on something as a Trundle, you deal a decent amount, especially when you have those double Mountain Drakes. So that's something that you have to watch out for here as Clutch Gaming. But they do have a lead right now, but it's very, very small, 2,000 gold. And a lot of it's on the jungle and the support.
Dematerializers, never, ever going to get that right the first time. On the top side of the map, really slowing down Solo's banner. Other way working in favor here of Someday, but they were able to get Clutch Gaming to the top side and get that turret down.
I just find it really funny too, because Someday is using them pretty much only when there's a Baron buffed up minion that's actually going to have like damage behind it of like a full wave or even Solo there. He's used only 2 in this entire game, and we're 25 minutes in, almost 26. So he's very kind of stingy with them, making sure it's only the situation where he absolutely has to use them because he wants to save them for the potential Baron later.
Right. We went from game 1 and having about 4 overall in the game, maybe 5, to just that 1.
Fight on top side.
Sorted out.
Febvin Shockwave Ryu.
Ryu Solo. He gets taken down. Clockwork wind up in another move of the ball is able to take him down. 100 Thieves losing ground. A half health Meteos takes the heal and gets himself to safety with that subjugate.
And they should just go straight to Baron. I mean, you got the ultimate out of Meteos. Ryu is down. You can start this and turn with the Ornn ultimate potentially to look for a fight. Sion is TPing in, and this could be a game decider.
Shockwave is down. That's what they want when they funnel in.
Hakuo's so low.
Bullet hit. They flash over it, but he's going to be able to pop a few up here. Watching Solo on the backside. Hakuo and the rest of the team move their skills in. A hit from Solo as he breathes the fire all over 100 Thieves. They run for the hills, and Clutch Gaming has position on Baron.
Both frontliners there were really pushing back the backline damage. I mean, Solo had an incredible ultimate, knocking out multiple people, following that with a charge that knocked up even more people.
Here it is again.
But at the same time, Sion is zoning them all out. So here is that 1v1 play. Febvin onto Ryu, catches him with that shockwave, and straight up just goes for the chase down. Ryu failing his flash over the wall. Very critical mistake.
Yeah, E'd and then came back for the ward anyway. And yeah, the flash over the wall, big. But Febvin here, he doesn't have shockwave, so it's not a big team fight ultimate from him. But then he walks to the right, and then when he goes back to the left, he actually steps on a trap, preventing him from dealing more damage.
But watch Solo now. So Sunday's zoning everyone out. Solo on the other side, knocks them up, charges into the wall, knocks more members up again, but the follow-up is not there, as they're both being kind of zoned out by the frontliners, and both teams end up surviving it. Comes down to only 1 kill, but the TP advantage is on the side of Clutch, so they could look to repeat and try to force another play here.
That's what they're best at, both of these teams, is just lighting the fuse immediately. Once again, Lyra just over the wall to get full vision of what's on the other side.
Look where Solo is. Solo is from the side here. He is potentially looking for a flank, but is going to go back.
Landing landed.
Quick charge, quick hit, getting that percent
That's a
health
shield
damage
down,
on the
he
Brittle. Is he going down? Is he going up? No, straight at the team, down the line, and let's see if they keep going down the tracks again.
Back to Baron.
Clutch Gaming happy with slight advantages in HP, but Meteos can get quite healthy here as he just takes down minions around him. Over to the Mountain Drake. They're trying to prevent this. The second 1 to 100 Thieves, so it's imperative Clutch either wins the fight and gets out, or at least stops 100 Thieves from getting this Drake.
100 Thieves have no flashes, though, so it's hard to really get into the middle of this fight unless they want to ult in someday, and Meteos gets
Huge
caught!
hit, that's one down. Smites are gone. They can easily get the Dragon now. They've prevented exactly what they want, and now they can put the next thing on their plate. Clutch Gaming doing well, 5-0.
And they are sending Solo down to the bottom lane, but I think they should go to Baron again, continue to try to force this, because there's no flashes on 100 Thieves, there's no jungler available, and TP is up on Solo.
Exactly, there's no smite available, and Clutch, they could very well try to do it, but it looks like they're just going to say no, play it safe, and that's been that reserve style from them where they just don't take those risks.
Yep.
And sometimes there is such a thing as playing too safe, right? And I do think that this is one of those cases where you have to wonder, should you have not at least tried? I'm not saying you have to fully commit, but you are relatively healthy. You're out on the map. There's no jungler. There's not a flash to be seen on the other team.
Yeah.
That is a Baron I think you can, at the very least, start and look to turn and see if you can get a fight.
It's something that 100 Thieves would have to go all in on. It'd be Someday and Ryu in that fight. It's not a, we can try to guess this or yo-yo it back and forth, so it would have been very interesting.
And the more you don't go for those types of plays that could win you the game, the more chances 100 Thieves have to make them themselves and win the game. So 100 Thieves, right, this will be the moment that if Clutch Gaming don't win this, 100 Thieves look back and go, thankfully they didn't do that. And Clutch have to go, why didn't we make that play? But they're playing safe, but it might be too much, like you said, Azale.
Yeah, it may just be too much. I mean, it's one of those things where Cody Sun is getting stronger and stronger, scaling up on this Caitlyn. You have a Trundle who is going to be a beast at kind of shredding through this Ornn in the later game fights, and you always have to be worried about that. But at the same time, I definitely do give the advantage to a late game Orianna versus that of a Galio.
Oh yeah, and you see Meteos almost has his nice vow here to protect Cody Sun. And Febiven has kind of been the decider here in this later part of the game. Early it was Lyra with the top lane gank, but now it's Febiven. The solo kill onto Ryu, and then the shockwave there as well. He does so much damage catching people out.
And he's on 4 items. I mean, this Orianna is massive. He has his Death Cap, he has his full completed Seraphs, he has his Void Staff there, 3 items, excuse me, plus boots, and it is looking to be at such a strong point of the game where when you have the spell penetration plus the Death Cap, you hit that one critical shockwave on either the mid laner or even Cody Sun here. Neither of those guys have any MR. They can get completely deleted.
Yeah, I've been loving what he's doing with the build too, because we saw that Ryu would go for more of the Death Cap second, but Febiven, he goes for the Void Staff second because he's against all these tanks and he just wants to be able to be relevant throughout the entire point of the game instead of have this power trough in the middle.
And it's also really nice because then it makes it so you can have more options as far as the targets, right? If you skip the magic penetration, then you basically only can hit those squishies. Whereas even if he hits a shockwave on, you know, a Trundle and a Braum or whatever, it can still have a really big impact.
And I love that he also went for the spell penetration boots here, because so many mid laners now just go Merc Treads, especially against somebody like Galio. Woo. Hold on, Apollo. Gonna get healed up here by the Redemption. He's gonna be okay, but that turret does go down.
Love the Redemption purchase within these fights. Tanks mean long fights, and being able to heal yourself back up for the entire team is huge. A nice undertow through 2 members. Pillar goes up, but how much is it going to get Lyra to stick in place? A few tags of damage does not connect the concussive blows, and they get themselves out.
Yeah, and they were hoping to kind of force Lyra into using his ultimate there, but they're not able to scare it out of him, and the waves in the side lanes are starting to push here for 100 Thieves, but Clutch has the inside track on Baron.
Yeah. But 100 Thieves have inside track to mid and potentially that bottom lane that's already incredibly low on the tier 2.
Oh, Solo. Taking a bit of extra damage to start this one off. Command Protect from Febiven. You can see the size of that shield.
The minion isn't paying attention to the turret. He's hitting other minions. Don't do it.
Gotta turn around. Oh. He goes down the fight in mid, so kind of waiting for that to happen. The turret should fall in just a moment. Does that activate the fight? It should not. No. They're still playing calm in mindset here as they're in the mid lane, just jockeying for position, letting the minions do the work.
But the fact that these are waves that are picked up by 100 Thieves earlier and then they slow push and just wasted gold on Clutch's side. We're looking at a 1.2k gold difference.
It's almost nothing at this point. 33 minutes into the game, it's all really down to how you play the fights, how you pilot your characters, and so much comes down to who can really start off the fight really well. Can Ornn find that perfect ultimate that is not going to get blocked by Braum? Or can we see Ryu comboing up with Someday perhaps and finding that dive to the back line?
And that's what I've been loving so far from the play from Solo is he's actually waiting and the team is baiting out or at least forcing enough damage that a Afro move puts up his shield. It happened in the last fight where they focused him down, tried to bait it out. Then they went for the Ornn ultimate afterwards. He's not doing it to have it just get absorbed by the Braum. He's waiting until the Braum has no way to block it.
One thing that is a little bit of a concern, you have to say, for 100 Thieves is the fact, or sorry, rather for Solo here on Clutch's side, is the fact how much less farm he's actually picking up than Someday, because he's been spending so much time grouped, looking for that potential play, looking for that potential engage, where Someday has been in the side lanes more, and really, because of that, is that completed item ahead. He has the Stone Plate, which is a difference maker, and it's 100 Thieves that are starting the Baron here, spotted out now.
Great to have the ball in there. They will be able to keep vision without having to play a Ward War game, but now they try to get the upper hand and go goal side mid. Looks like they'll leave it in the river for now, as nobody really is playing that. Nobody wants to lose game, and they're all playing very cautious here. Good hits onto Lyra. Shields there. He should just heal back up nice and quick before he even gets back into the fight. Side Ryu and the top lane. Someday comes in. Fevin. Oh! Popped up, knocked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the floor.
That's the first kill of the game for 100 Thieves, and they get it onto Febivin, and they get both his summoners. This opens up an opportunity for them to crack the game wide open.
Yeah, Apollo just shifted in there, and the whole team comes in to support, but they're now getting potentially flanked. We'll see if they can pull off a fight.
Glacial Fissure just missing on Solo as the Black Shield was on. They are being deterred from the Baron. Lyra makes it the 50-50, and they're doing a hell of a lot of damage.
Cody's is low.
Cody's on low, just dodging out of the binding with the 90 caliber net. Solo's in their eyes, but what target do they want? They subjugate onto Solo, and it looks like they're going to be going on to Hakuo. Now a little bit more shots onto the Ragnarok. Olaf, call the Forge God, knocked through, but it's only going to hit Afromu on the backside. One more hit, concussive blows. Oh, Meteos tries to get the bite, but it's just too short with the double flash from both players.
They're actually buying so much time, though. Fevivin is almost respawning here. Despite the fact they lost another kill, Fevivin is now up on the map. He's running over here. But 100 Thieves are going to burn this down very quickly. We'll see if Clutch can delay for Fevivin to arrive.
Lyra down to half. Ragnarok not even halfway cooled down. Solo is trying to use all of his HP
Someday
to say, we're giving time for Fevivin. Is
almost
it
here.
enough time? Shockwave is up. The pile is in. Apollo shifts down. The entrance coming in as Ryu tries to reposition himself to defense on the fight. And the Shockwave will not come through as they have to respect the damage from Fevivin.
I cannot believe that Clutch hung on there, fighting off that bear for so long. While Fevivin was respawning, he just barely gets back to hang on in that fight. They do lose a couple kills, but they do not lose the Baron, and that is the critical thing.
Exactly. There's 3 kills that go over to 100 Thieves. Their first 3 kills of the game, but the gold is just dead even now. Exactly.
Insane.
What a tense fight there, honestly. So close. The slimmest of margins on both sides.
Here it is again.
Yeah, this is Someday ulting out of the bush with Ryu following up. He hits Fevivin, Ryu W's. Even though the cleanse comes out, he catches Fevivin even after the flash with the backwards E.
And that's honestly the intensity of those late game fights. You would have had the flash immediately to avoid that original ult. But here it is, Clutch kiting back and forth, trying to get damage in. Look at Apollo putting a lot of pressure onto Cody-san there, which was a really big deal. And you see the Clutch is never overcommitting to the engage. They're moving forward and saving all of their escape abilities to then retreat, to try to give up the minimum. So they lose a Morgana kill, but they have the ultimate to get out. They have enough poke from Apollo, and that Ezreal really was the hero in buying time.
Yeah, and man, during that time, Someday ulti 3 times. It is a 36-second cooldown ultimate on his Unstoppable Onslaught. It's actually ridiculous. He caught Fevivin, caught Hakuho, and then his last one, he almost got another kill for his team.
Choo-choo. Absolutely crazy. Got trains coming down the track from Solo. Someday trying to turn into a train himself and make things happen. Everybody doing what they can to throw themselves into a fight. Hakuo down to about 70% HP from one wham bam. Thank you, ma'am.
I mean, Cody-san is putting out a lot of damage at this point. When you get a rapid fire crit this late in the game on a squishy, it's almost all their health. And Banner doing work again up in the top side, getting that farm for Someday, picking up a lot of extra gold with that. And they're looking for a fight here. Solo gotta back off.
2 hits, doesn't get locked up. Apollo staying steady so he doesn't get hit up by the roar. The Slayer from Someday, and it looks like they set up once again in mid. What a low kill game for the amount of action we have seen.
Yeah, but there's that wave top lane now that needs to be caught. It's about to hit the turret, and that's just wasted gold again here. You can see 100 Thieves slowly but surely just start getting a lead from an even point based off of their catching waves and Clutch aren't. I was looking at the banner of commands. Solos has done 1,600 damage, now 2,200 damage to turrets, but then Somedays has done
Solos got out.
They still have the shield there from Hakuo. It's going to give him a little bit of distance, but the follow-up damage is too much. The front end, the middle, and the back end is enough to take down Solo. Just about over a minute on these death timers.
Yeah, Apollo wasn't with the team, so they couldn't get back up there to fight, but they have 4 members. They need to try to delay once more, and they now see that the Baron has not been started, so they can back off. They know 100 Thieves is baiting, and that's going to force 100 Thieves' hand to start this Baron.
Good defense, Meteos ready to put that pillar up and stop anybody coming in. Lyra could deny the slows with Ragnarok if he wants to get close, but that's going for broke. That's possibly the game if they lose too much ground here. 2,800 HP. The smites coming up to about 1,000 damage in the game are very close to. Hakuo gets the Zhonya's down. They've deterred them now from the Baron. They take down Hakuo along with his flash, and 100 Thieves turn to the Baron.
Solo's up in 8 though, and he has TP, so they may have possibly delayed long enough again. We'll see if they can hold on.
Got a ward in the pit.
He's up in 2 seconds. He can TP back into this if they want to try a 4v5, but that would be very risky.
They're going to respect it. He's actually teleporting down so he doesn't get stopped on the home guard right away. It might make more of an impact
Ryu's
on his way
looking to
into
flank.
the fight, but he just presents himself in the front.
Here comes Ryu.
Ryu could be right there. They don't have the wards. He flashes in. Febiven can hit a beautiful shockwave on the back line. Ryu trying to make his way in. The damage for CG just may not be enough, but is it a turnaround? Solo do what he can. Apollo flashes forward. Febiven, it is up to the Orianna, and it looks like he will pull through another shockwave to turn the fight in Clutch Gaming's favor.
It's an absolute bloodbath. This game could not be closer. Game 5 of the semifinals. Both teams refuse to go down.
Let's see that one more time, because this is a flank that looks like it's going to decide the game. It is a 4v5, but Febiven's ultimate pulls off the impossible here. He chunks them down, and then with Afromu dead, you can call in the Ram, and it hits Cody.
The Ornn ulti over, and then follow Apollo here. Jumps in over the wall, gets the final shot onto Cody-san, gives up his life for it, but it allows Febiven to clean up the end of this fight and allows Clutch again to hold on against all odds at the Baron.
Absolutely insane impact plays from this man in the mid lane on Clutch Gaming. It does take a team, but the spot-on ultimates from Febiven have turned these games around time and time again.
Febiven came over to North America from the EU LCS, and then immediately there was almost no conversation about how great of a player he was. He had solo killed FLICKR. He'd been a top 4 finisher at Worlds, and even just the split before he got here, he was the all-pro EU LCS mid laner.
Yep.
He's showing now that you still have to take this guy seriously. He's almost 100 CS up in this mid lane. His Orianna ultimates and his impact cannot be overstated. He has been critical in this game.
This game getting pushed to the limits. You guys talk about how fast these ultimates are coming back up, and we're seeing multiples in these fights. It's a window that players are not used to as well, so you're misconsidering quite a few things as you go in.
Both AD carries now hit 6 items. Bloodthirster purchased up there for Apollo. Cody-san already on 6 items himself. We could see those optimizations done. Boots perhaps traded out later on, but these guys are fully online. Febiven is massive here as well, adding in the Leandries to his already huge roster of items, and they're heading again back over to the Baron pit.
Yeah, for Apollo, I think this is a little greedy though, because it means he has no QSS. Mercurial will have a decent amount of lifesteal on it, but it just means he doesn't want to get burst by the Caitlyn like he did earlier.
And that banner is pushing heavily in the bottom side, so if Clutch can keep them up here, that will get some work done.
Apollo keeps himself safe over the wall. Double buff for the Ezreal to keep himself going. We're looking at max items for your AD carries right now as they try to put out the most DPS in these fights with the protection of basically everyone around them. And the thing is, Cody has a bit. Apollo, give that self.
Ooh. This wave on the bottom side is massive. Look at this. Multiple cannons, a banner cannon. They're fighting in mid lane.
Solo calling the ult in. He's actually going to hit the Forge God back. Solo could go down. He tries to flash himself out. A little more distance there. The follow from Someday, but the chase. The chase is quite a lot.
Shields.
And they may be able to turn it around. How much do you want from one guy? Or do you turn the target? Clutch Gaming loses a bit of ground, but it could mean Baron for 100 Thieves.
But Solo has Warmog, so he doesn't have to back here. He's going to get full HP again. Lyra, though, not offered that type of luxury. He doesn't have it.
Look at his health go up on the top right of the screen.
Lyra has flash, though. He could look for a steal. This is risky. This could decide the game here if they go for it.
Gotta watch the ball. Where does Featherman put the ball?
2,800 HP on the Baron. They've turned off it now. It's just doing damage to Sunday.
The minions in the bottom lane are so big now. Clutch just needs to buy time for this wave to crack this inhibitor, and they're trying to send them back to base. Massive wave pushing on the top side again. Clutch can be the ones to start up the Baron here, and looks like they're heading for it.
Slowly but surely, they want to clear the vision and say, do you think we're doing it? Can we catch you on the potential? Maybe.
They started now.
They have Someday on the bot side. Teleport is up. They have a ward just to the left. He clears as many as he can, and he gets himself immediately back into the river. Solo gets hit up, but they've played this game before. They've danced this dance. He can take quite a bit of damage, and the team can turn it around, but Lyra is the one that has to be careful. 100 Thieves sees a fight they can win, but Clutch will not let them through the door.
And I gotta say, seeing Apollo shift around these fights, sometimes shift aggressively, is refreshing, because this is the guy that we always said, if the game is in his hands, he never makes the game-winning play. He never has the courage to do so. Backline, Varus, poke, that type of player, but now we're seeing him be more aggressive when they need him most.
I mean, Clutch just forced out the TP from Someday from the bottom lane. Ryu just TP'd to his tier 2 turret to try to rush this down. If they can stop this, if Clutch can stop this Baron, he will have no global at all. And remember, Lyra does have his flash, so yeah, both globals down. I think that was a pretty big mistake, honestly, from Ryu to waste that teleport on a tier 2 turret. Like, it basically went nowhere.
Yeah, it's a desperation play here from 100 Thieves. They think they see an opening. Remember, Clutch got that first game win against 100 Thieves here because they rushed a Baron, because 100 Thieves had the Rise ultimate in and their intentions were red. So Clutch are saying they know how to play around Baron, and they understand how 100 Thieves want to as well.
And the question becomes, can Clutch actually now establish control in the side lanes, get an advantage because those globals are down? And we also have to remember, as this game goes longer and longer, Clutch has access to essentially another item and a half type thing, or another half item with the Ornn upgrades. You can get that 6.5 items, and you can keep building further and further past that, which is always going to be an edge.
Clean up.
It's actually really good, because normally you can't
have stomach ache. Right, it triggers slowly on the next
one. Well, normally you step in one trap and you can't actually step in another. There's a lockout, right? Even if you aren't stunned or anything, you just walk in the next.
Oh. Lyra's taking quite a bit of damage here in this late game. There's also that Cloud Drake still hanging out, but right now they're like, Baron's enough to fight over, and nobody wants to give up the top side of the map.
Lyra has identified, though, that Warmogs is exactly what he needs here, so he takes all that. Now he's just full HP again, because if it comes down to a Baron dance and it's all about that poke and who gets chunked out and they have to back, you don't want to be the guy or the tank that happens to. So we have 3 Warmogs so far in this game.
I really want to see Solo get out to the side lane, though, and get these waves pushing again, because he's had this TP advantage for all this time, and the waves are building and building and building. And if you leave that too long, it opens up such opportunities for 100 Thieves to get position around the Baron, to get pressure on your base turrets. And 100 Thieves is recognizing this. They are starting the Baron. They have spotted it out, I believe, with that blue orb, but I'm not sure if it was already there.
Man.
No, they don't know.
They don't know.
That blue orb was already there, so he's already denied the vision.
It would be Apollo right now who has to check. He has the blue orb himself.
Oh, God.
It's going down so slow, though.
Yeah, it's 2 people, though, and if you get it this low, you just have people rotate, and then you're able to commit to it.
It's the 1-2.
Oh, I think Lyra is starting to get a little bit suspicious. They threw it.
But they're only
They spotted it with Redemption. Hawko just spotted it.
Beautifully done.
They're going to shoot it down, though. Lyra can go in.
The smite over the wall. It's going to be the hit. No, it actually goes to Cody Son. 100 Thieves are going to be able to grab the Baron. Lyra tries to get out. Ragnarok just wearing off. He's got the black shield. Solo knocks back, and Clutch Gaming say, forward for the fight. Sunday's gonna be on the back line now, and 100 Thieves is getting routed by Clutch Gaming.
And this is ridiculous. They end up having this two-man Baron turn into a collapse, and right now you would go Clutch, Elder Dragon, but it's still Cloud 47 minutes into the game.
And it's Cody's son who actually secures it. Meteos missed the smite there, and Lyra just barely not able to get his smite off. Clutch will get the mid lane turret. They'll take the red buff. They'll go to the dragon and likely prompt the spawning finally of that Elder. But 100 Thieves will have their time on the map with the Baron buff, and we'll see what they can get done.
Ornn upgrades for now. We're getting to that point where we need to spend a little extra cash as we see Solo upgrading his Abyssal Mask, and we'll see some other core items around the map start to change around.
Yeah, the boots for the Phantom Dancer here for Cody's son. Yeah, this gets down to about 1,200 HP, and you never see it drop below that. The headshot comes in at the Baron at the same time as the smite comes down from Meteos.
Yeah, right in. Meteos blast cones over. 1,700, 1,200. There's the smite. Yep. No chance really for Lyra. So not sure if that was actually called out in time, the crit with the smite. If it was, credit to 100 Thieves, because that is essentially unstealable there from Lyra. But that is a close one. And I mean, if Lyra steals that, they won the fight anyway. If they get the Baron too, that can be devastating. So really, really close in this series. I can't get much closer.
I know. They got the Baron. They're still down in gold. They need to crack an inhibitor with this and push their advantage here. We see Someday has used his banner.
Playing it smart, saying the second turret's too hard to defend. They'll leave it to the base defense.
Apollo even swapping out his Iceborne for a Triforce and Ornn upgrading it. So that is, his 6.5 items essentially.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't have anything to Ornn upgrade unless he gets the Trinity Force, because the Iceborne isn't one you upgrade. None of the other items for Ezreal. So yeah, he's forced to swap there.
Look at this, they're just tanking for the cannon. After who pops up the shield, somebody who's interrupted. They're looking for the engage, Ornn ulti!
Or hit, they're gonna get in. True Shot Barrage does pass through the team, but not doing too much damage to the tanks in the front line. Lyra getting skipped up just on the edge of the knockup from Someday. Ragnarok is on, but they're not gonna be able to use it to get back in the fight as they sort it out. Nobody goes down, you only lose a little bit of health.
A big wave on the top side, though, for Clutch, and it comes down so much to the map control, to the minion waves in the side lanes, and all these tanks have bought up their Warmogs, so Someday regenning back up, they will continue the push.
I absolutely love that, though, from the side of Clutch. Solo saw that he was blocking for it. No shield available, the Ornn ulti comes through, and he's just waiting for it to come back off of cooldown here, about 30 more seconds.
Turret should go down as they can't really get to that pile of people with the minions behind it. 10 to 8, 50 minutes just crested as the base finally gets cracked open in favor of 100 Thieves. Clutch Gaming looking for a window to still fight. They always have been.
And Clutch is so dependent upon their ultimates to fight. If you don't have Shockwave, if you don't have Ornn ulti and Ragnarok, you cannot really fight. When you have a Caitlyn, you're much less dependent upon those ultimates. It's all based on the auto attack type style. So as long as they're blocking for Cody's son, 100 Thieves can continually fight. Where Clutch, as soon as that first fight broke down, they can't fully engage. They need to wait.
Yeah, and that Ornn ultimate, it's a much longer cooldown now since the nerfs to him. Someday has that 36-second ultimate on Unstoppable Onslaught, and then it's a 70-second cooldown for Solo. So twice as long there when he gets to pick his fights. And he still has to even worry about Aphromu's shield because the Braum pickup, but we're back to an even game here.
Oh, it's pretty crazy. Febvin now completes his 6 items. This Orianna cannot get any stronger. I mean, it's hard to overstate the importance of this late game Orianna. We know the death cap is in there. That can be upgraded. But, I mean, if this guy hits the right shockwave, it can be lights out. If you miss it, likewise, but for the other team, right? And there's so much pressure because of that. When you have this one ability that everyone is watching, when you have this one ability that your team is counting on, and their whole team is trying to track and avoid, that decides games.
A little harder.
And this is one of the longest games that I have seen on patch 8.5 in particular, because normally it's Elder Dragon and then second Elder Dragon. You're like, okay, 35 minutes, 8 minutes later comes up. First Elder Dragon hasn't even spawned yet.
It's still the Wind Dragon.
Like, this game could potentially keep going without those kind of rush the game down mechanics being a part of it with the Elder Dragon because of that.
They're conservationists, the last of his kind. They're not willing to kill him off.
It's funny, though, because like so much has revolved around the Baron that they haven't been around the Cloud Drake, but at the same time, I've always thought about it where it's like, if I'm behind, I don't want to take Cloud Drake because the next one's Elder, and they're going to take it.
And you get
so I don't want
forced
to
into that
help
fight.
them.
And even if you're even,
it's even.
if you feel like, hey, we are better around the Baron, then taking down that Dragon gives them an option to actually trade. Whereas if it's just the Baron, you're forced into these team fights. But I mean, this is going to be an explosive last fight, certainly. One thing I've got to say, though, it really hasn't felt like any of the Galio ultimates have been super impactful.
Right.
It always
Reactive.
feels like they're more, exactly, reactive, used more defensively. They haven't found that big engage, but they are pushing into the base. We are 53 minutes in. Death timers are massive at this point.
Cast back to week 3, day 1. This first matchup was 48 minutes between these two teams, so they know they can push each other to the limits here. But 5 games in, completely different story as they still try for this middle inhibitor. 100 Thieves is being stopped at the steps of the base for Clutch Gaming.
That matchup you just mentioned, Riv, that one that went really long, 48 minutes, that was one where Clutch Gaming were up 10,000 gold, and they lost to 100 Thieves at the 9th hour there. So that's one where Clutch could be the same position here. The game, they've just been going back and forth this whole time, and it's been such a long one, and they have 100 Thieves on the step of their base right now, and 30 seconds on that Baron.
It's also been really cool to see how Apollo in these later stages using the Ezreal ult to try to get better control of the side lane waves, ulting out, stacking waves, trying to get them pushing in their favor without having to go there himself. So, you know, these little things can be very impactful, but anytime Cody Sun gets a single shot off on Hako, it feels like he has to completely back off. I mean, it can be up to half your health.
10 seconds for fun. Baron's about to spawn. It's like we'll get repositioned on the map. I mean, inhibitor's down. Maybe they don't leave if they can keep pressuring the inhibitor. Get a simple fight that they want instead of having to take damage from the Baron. It definitely seems like the better option for now if they can keep this poke going. The Warmogs, however, extending this fight. I believe it's been about 5 minutes now. They've kind of just been milling about in the mid lane, doing the love taps.
These shields on Apollo are getting pretty insane. You'll see when he actually gets the Orianna shield and the black shield plus his Bloodthirster shield. You know, he can have 700, 800 worth of extra health there.
Magical Wizard.
We now have a second banner in play from Afromu here, up on the top side of the map. Starting to knock down that turret. It just died. There they go. There's the Ornn ulti.
He gets 3.
3-man hit. They're looking for Ryu, but Someday's going to be on the backside there with Meteos. That's a lot of damage, and it's just Cody's son absolutely putting the DPS into Solo. Shockwave goes off. Everybody's able to flash to a bit of safety. Meteos and Someday, the lowest ones, not the worst. Watch him heal up on the left side of the map here. Same thing with Solo.
Exactly. Doesn't mean that much, but like you said before, Zale, ultimate-dependent team fight from Clutch Gaming, and they've blown 2 of those big ultimates.
Yeah, the Shockwave being down is really the most critical one, so they have to watch that. The Shockwave only caught Meteos. There's still going to be about 30 seconds remaining on that. They're TPing back in, and 100 Thieves may try to heavily force a fight here.
100 Thieves have better position, though, because there's no turret on that middle inhib.
That's
they can
true.
always go there if they want.
Someday takes the damage. He says, give me a few minutes. Let me get Warmogs back in here. And they'll be okay. They are going to take that middle positioning as Ryu comes back. They don't fully engage the fight.
The side lanes are so heavily pushing for opposite teams. Massive wave in the bottom lane for Clutch. Big wave in the top lane here, 400 Thieves. And Apollo didn't have any minions to heal off of because they're dancing around the Baron. So it's 100 Thieves just straight up starting this up. Solo actually went back to base. He's got a TP back right now.
There he is, Blast Cone to get over. Lyra's trying to squeeze his way in from the bot side. Baron's down to 2,800. They're going to peel off the fight as they see them coming in. Ragnarok's down. They're able to get a few ultimates out here and cost Clutch Gaming some imperative abilities. Solo, Shockwave up, down on the bot side, big damage. That Shockwave hits Afromu and Someday. Afromu shield up, could go down. They get the damage perfectly back on Solo. Locked up, finally taken down. This could be it. Have they cracked it open enough to get all the way into the base? Lyra taking damage. Hakuo trying to throw Dark Bindings from the fog on that right side. They have vision denial, and he's cleansed out as Cody's son quickly getting himself into position. Bot lane is taking huge damage from minions for Clutch.
They're going to lose an inhibitor. 100 Thieves have got to get back to the base, and
they don't
just
want to
delay them.
They are stopping the backs. Afromu almost for sure to go down here, or at least have an extended back. Inhib broken by Clutch Gaming for their work.
And that's insane, because they had lost their middle inhibitor turret way earlier, and it's just that gigantic push that's set up from earlier.
Yeah, the Ezreal ultimates have been so clutch, clearing out the minion waves. 100 Thieves basically had the same push going, but Apollo shut it down. 100 Thieves, though, back to the Baron again. Minions in the mid lane may knock down that inhibitor now for 100 Thieves, and this game just doesn't stop.
Coming up on 60 minutes, mirrored dragons on both sides of the rift. as either team game to game has controlled the objectives. Now we're on the final one. It's going down. Febiven steals it with a command move dissonance. Are you kidding me?
Febiven pulling off the moves to save the game here. He didn't even commit the shockwave. Rivy still has it. They are back in the base, 57 minutes in. They lose the inhibitor, but they have the Baron, and they will have their time on the map.
That was necessary. Cody Sun crits it for 448 as Febiven moves and hits the W here. Watch this headshot, or this crit come through here. There, it's 1,100 is the last number you see. 700 of that is from Febiven.
Oh, it's been 100 Thieves stealing those away. It was the Morgana binding from Aframu. It was the Feast from Someday stealing those dragons, and Febiven with the game on the line, with the series on the line, finals on the line, steals a Baron on this Orianna, and that is huge.
And look at this. We actually see a Rage Blade for Apollo. He has swapped out items now.
Swapped out his boots.
This is a Rage Blade that doesn't have the percent AD or percent AP. This is the flat stack up. Right. He's looking for a ton of attack speed for that Blade of the Ruined King. He has to get through tanks, so he's looking for that to stack.
But he is going to be lower on mobility, and it's hard to play this style where he's zipping in and out without those boots to aid him in avoiding some of these skill shots. He's got to be careful.
He's been putting himself on the front line, so it's got to be even trickier now, and he's said, I can do it. He's taken it upon himself. The rest of the team as well playing very good here as Clutch Gaming have 100 Thieves backs against the wall.
And that's what you want to see, Riv. As you said, he's saying, I can do this. I can pull this off. Yes. You need the confidence. That banner, you're chasing it.
Lyra gets himself out. Could have been messy, but the Black Shield has come up huge for Hakuo's main. That Wheelhouse Morgana he's able to get in the last game. Everybody's stepping up for Clutch Gaming here in what many thought would be a 100 Thieves moving on, and not the case. 5 games strong, and now 30 seconds from 60 minutes in as these teams push each other.
If you told me that Clutch Gaming were going to be in the finals, I would have called you crazy. They have 3 members of the 10th place team Envy, and then the team that finished and got knocked out of the first round of playoffs last split, and then they got a different solo laner in both lanes. They picked up a pretty much inexperienced top laner, only a handful of games to his name in the LCS, and then they got Febiven. What's the synergy gonna be like? And right now, Clutch are showing that they potentially deserve to fight for number 1 and 2.
Absolutely insane as well. Apollo feeling strong to stay on the front line, gets himself to safety as you heard the crowd counting to that 60-minute mark. We have crested an hour into the game, and we'll see who can really play this one to the max. 100 Thieves now have to show that they can take a hit this late in the game. If they can, it makes them even more of a formidable opponent going on to the finals, but Clutch has shown so strong, they may not let 100 Thieves show that.
Never have I ever seen an hour into the game a take of a cloud break.
The longest surviving dragon ever.
Do we have the earliest and the latest
time?
We have the earliest and the latest cloud break in this series?
Good night, sweet prince.
May flights of drakes lay thee to thy rest.
Oh my word. Did we just vocab change? Is that what an hour does to you? Jeez.
As long as we're going that direction with our vocabulary.
Oh man. Looking at only a small gold lead right now. 7-7 in turrets, a little bit of math. 11 are on each side, so you can tell 4 left to fall. I don't even know if we're going to be getting to those for each side. A team's going to want to be one and done if they can find their way to the Nexus turrets.
So right now, 100 Thieves, there's so much damn gold in the game. They're buying Zerat portals. We just saw Cody's son. He bought a Banner of Command, used it, sold it, rebought his items. This is the point in the game that we are at.
And it's honestly a really smart move to make. It's not always going to be a game decider, but so much has been about those side lanes, and you can use the banner, sell it, get a Zerat, use that, sell it, rebuy your items, and these are optimizations that you should be going for. Is it always going to decide the game? No. But could it decide the game? Yes. We have seen how much these matches have been about side lane control, especially 61 minutes into the game. It's about map positioning. It's about who gets the better start of the fight. And forcing someone to answer that side lane can be done just by an item swap like that.
Also, for each player in their particular role, it's a new realm to sell and buy these items. What do you get? What's right? What do you sell for? What do you buy for? And they're trying to make that right choice. Who knows what the right one is? How many times do you actually get to see this?
I mean, the Rageblade Ezreal, I cannot think of the last time I saw that, but hey, it seems like it makes a lot of sense. To Zyrene's point, you have the Blade of the Rune King, you're trying to punch through these massive tanks, get that stacking up, and maybe you have a better chance to compete with the Caitlyn as far as frontline DPS, and they need every little bit that they can get. You can see the Ornn upgrades have come through for everyone except Hakuo. I really like that Ornn upgraded Locket for Lyra. That is going to be, I think, very impactful. And I mean, it's just going to come down to execution at this point.
It's been down to execution for a while now, to be completely honest.
100,000 gold apiece. Dead even.
Boom! Gold means nothing at this point. Take it away. Start from 0. Everything says 0, 0.
Next game.
Isn't that what they tell you? It's all 0, 0.
Look at that.
0,
Don't
0.
spend
No
it all
games.
in one place, Riz.
Don't spend it all in one place. Holy moly. Damage over the entire game.
Yeah, the big thing to look at is the fact that 100 Thieves, Ryu, even though he's that AP Galio, he's not contributing that much damage to these fights. It's the Cody Sun show. It's 4 tanks and Cody, and that's what they've been relying on in this game, the faith in this guy, and he hasn't let them down just yet in this game. So far, he's been performing in this high-pressure situation with everybody just kind of throwing themselves in front of him. He got hit by some bindings, has those fast fingers today, so it's, like you said, Azael, it's playing with the execution in mind here and being able to deliver, and that's what it comes down to.
And the Baron is up in 40, and it seems like that is what these teams have decided this game will be settled at, right? You know, this is the battlegrounds.
Gentleman's agreement.
A gentleman's agreement.
We're going to go for a Baron.
2 teams enter in the Baron pit.
Yep.
And it will be settled like men.
I was like, sometimes 2 teams leave, too. Multiple times.
Multiple times this game as well. Also, look at
But eventually, one team.
It'll happen. We promise. Just wait. These dank vision scores around the map as well. 197 for Lyra. This guy sees all.
This guy wards.
This guy wards.
He got the Ingenious Hunter so he could ward more, and almost hitting a 200 vision score. I haven't seen that either since we introduced vision score a little bit later when we already had the speed up mechanics in the game.
Crazy things are happening. Clutch is going to be able to tag in a new champion soon. We'll see here. 10-9 as the kills just start creeping up. But as you can see, it's always 1-for-1 or a trade that doesn't net one team that much of an advantage. And we keep stalling out in the mid lane. I think we may have spent more time in the mid lane than any other game here. And we're about to get the ARAM going. A little bit down mid here for Clutch Gaming. They say we see Ryu on the outside. And it may be the ultimate in to stop it if they are going to initiate from Clutch Gaming's side. So patient.
You have to be. I mean, if you make that one mistake, the game ends, right? That you don't get another chance. 65 minutes in, the death timers are 70, 80 seconds. They are forcing the TP out.
All right.
Clutch have started the Baron, but they're going to pull off immediately. Now they got Ryu's TP. That's all they really wanted.
Now the extension, can they actually get Ryu to want to go down to mid lane and say, we're away from Baron now? They're probably going to stay. This is where it starts to be a real sticky situation of who can get those initial shots in. Solo dodging to get the heals up. You can see right back to full health and topped off as they're Triss trying to go tit for tat in these small fights, but not getting anything. Oh, that's actually quite a bit. Solo not liking that damage. He'll be right as rain in a few seconds.
Yeah, he can Warmogs up, but they did push up the minion wave. So now 100 Thieves, what they got was established control of mid lane. That gets you access to the Baron pit. This can move them in. They can clear out the vision. They can establish their own line of defense here. And Apollo does get low, but he'll heal right back up. He has so much lifesteal. It's 40% with the Bloodthirster, the Mercurial, and that Blade of the Rune King. So a couple autos, he's right as rain.
Yeah, sold the Rage Blade, got himself a Mercurial, so he has the magic resistance, and he also has the QSS effect and lifesteal. But now we have the Elder Dragon up in 30 seconds here. Now we have 2 objectives that will pull these guys to the sides.
So standard 66-minute Elder Dragon spawn.
I am trying to keep my eye on where Febevin moves this ball throughout these fights. It's kind of the priority target. We'll see that Apollo stays on the back. He's been playing the bottom side of fights or kind of towards the left of all of these if he has the chance. So keep an eye on him and Febevin as they trade back and forth here in the mid lane, just waiting for minion waves.
I mean, it's you and everyone else, because you lose focus for 1 second and lose control of where that ball is, or it's hidden under someone. You lose focus. That can be it. But they're fighting. Meteos is pretty far up here.
Solo's taking a lot of damage.
Solo goes down immediately. Bomb to face for him. He knows that was not a good play. This is going to be bad. Ragnarok is there, but this is going to be the Baron attempt, and that means that Lyra cannot go in safely without the crowd control. The crowd behind 100 Thieves as they posture for Baron.
Clutch is going to go try to trade, though. They're going to go towards the Elder, and a Solo actually charged and hit the Trundle pillar, it looked like. Yep. He did not use his flash, so it's Clutch trading for the Elder. We'll see if they can get it. Remember, this will not last as long as the Baron buff, but they are going to be stronger during the Elder. So, again, another trade, and if they can get back to base, they should be able to hang on. Maybe they give up an inhibitor, but 40 seconds on Solo, I don't think the 100 Thieves can end the game.
Yeah, that death timer is really long, so they'll get that inhibitor. Their side lanes aren't really in position either. If they want to, they could just ham-fist it, but at the same time, I still feel like Solo, he's going to be up in time.
Yeah, and it's risky. Pushing heavily into the Elder, that is, modified damage on the true damage.
Right.
That's also more from the Infernal buff. So
Great.
these guys get stronger and stronger and stronger at this point, and it's going to continue. I mean, Solo is going to be back up. You can see that Ryu is pushing up in the top side. They're going to look to try to knock down multiple inhibitors with this one, but Wave Clear is also very powerful this late in the game.
Towards the top side, they've shown a full 5, so Clutch Gaming has an idea of what is happening here. As they try to defend a few last times on the base. Yeah, Paulo takes a big hit there as another one follows through from Cody's son. Lyra trying to deter from the right, and it looks like Clutch Gaming is going to be able to hold them off for a moment, but all they want is that cannon minion to do the damage.
Meteos actually popped his ult there on Solo, and they do knock down the turret, but Trundle without an ultimate is very squishy, so 100 Thieves will back off after it. They get the one inhibitor, but again, game will continue. You see Apollo shooting that ultimate down to bot lane, trying to control the side waves as best as he possibly can with that ultimate.
God, this game is just so even. Up at the top, we just see it so close. 70 minutes in. But they're playing to go to the finals, to go to Miami and play for that banner.
From new organization to finals. Both of these teams trying to make that impact and name for themselves here. Set it in the history books. 100 Thieves pressuring the base, but it's open on the other side of the map, as we have seen. That inhibitor can be taken down quickly if Clutch Gaming gets themselves a win. It would be coast to coast for either fight.
And it's funny because in these moments, you usually look for that one person to step up and make that game-winning play. But there are so many people across these two teams that constantly are making plays back and forth, this tug of war for who has the more clutch performance.
You can see how even the game is. Just that kill onto Solo allowed them to now kind of jockey back and forth here. They aren't huge gains at all 70 minutes into the game, but that is big enough for 100 Thieves to feel really good about moving forward.
Yeah, getting that double inhibitor down gives you so much map pressure. They're going around the horn. They're trying to look for the triple inhib, which would be massive.
And this is an opportunity for them to do so for sure, because the Elder Dragon has fallen off, and this is that window where you have 45 seconds, 2 waves for the Baron to push in.
Someday, his objective, get that bottom lane in. Ryu playing a little bit of mid-wall body defense if anyone tries to get through that base gate to get over to him. And they have everything capitalized on right now as they try to get that last minion wave in to sort and push Clutch Gaming thin across their base as these minions pile in.
I mean, Clutch may be forced into a hard engage that they don't want because this turret is going down very quick. Minions are pushing in on all sides. You can't give up that third inhib, or I think it's just lights out against this Kaelin comp. So last inhibitor turret goes down, and they are moving forward. Apollo is somewhat separated.
Baron just about to wear off as they have lost that Elder. Seems like they'll be all right to just back and forth trade. These Warmogs are keeping everybody so healthy. Nobody really wants to take the extended fight just yet.
Yeah, but 100 Thieves are in a better map position because the minions are going to keep pushing into the Nexus turrets. Somebody has to answer them, and when somebody answers, there's a vulnerability where you can push up and get that inhibitor.
The game's become so even. It's just a slow strangle out here for 100 Thieves, suffocating Clutch Gaming so they cannot do anything. Shockwave, and they can take it! Shockwave on the backside! Meteos, Afro, and Sun, or Cody's son, are making their way to safety. Solo taking damage. Now it's going to be on to Lyra, but he's safe. They turn around. Meteos takes a few more shots, and he get out safely as nobody drops right away. But Febvin Shockwaves have staved off enough. Does the base stay alive?
Exposed, though. They're going to knock down the third inhibitor here, and 100 Thieves are cleaning up the base.
It could be enough to make their way in. They got a big wave coming in top side, or rather now to come in, but I don't know how long they can stay. Not enough minions in the bot and mid. Do they ride the wave top? They have the health to stay, and it looks like they will pressure. No deaths on the side of Clutch Gaming, but a half-health Nexus turret.
Man, this middle inhibitor is also really close to coming back up here for the side of Clutch Gaming. So you can see 100 Thieves are sticking around. Cody-san doesn't have much mana, but still, as long as somebody doesn't die, you can keep going. These Warmogs, Meteos almost dropped in that fight, and then he comes back healthy, and you can continue the siege. And that's what we're seeing, is this game has been non-stop tug of war.
Just a game of inches. You can see Someday up on the top side trying to push this in. Looks like 100 Thieves perhaps are finally making the call to actually back off.
And that's because Baron is up in 2 minutes here.
Stay again. They canceled the recall there from Someday, and they're just going to continue staying here.
Because it's the inhib.
Yeah, nothing to buy, and they want to kill this inhibit as it's respawning. We'll see if Clutch actually try to pull the trigger and defend this. They really don't want to give up 3 inhibs.
Their carries have backed, and now they have full HP and mana. Apollo runs up here. That would be the opportunity for them to go.
Shockwave also ready once more, and can be a game changer. We saw Bevin finding that big one in the last fight, but wasn't enough to get a kill.
Damage onto Someday.
It's getting low.
Ooh. Almost taken down. The taunt from Ryu to ensure that nobody can follow through. Call the Forge God says that's the fight.
Is caught by
we
Binding.
can actually hit. Clutch Gaming looking very good at the start here. The entrance from Ryu knocks them up, but the follow through and damage is big enough. Someday on the side, a knife, Evan and Apollo, but they get themselves to safety as well. What a back and forth as both teams continue to be able to fight.
It's a 1-for-1, but again, 100 Thieves will stay around and they will go for the inhibitor. The Nexus turrets are falling to the super minions as they pile in, and Clutch
They have
are on their
Odin's
last
done.
legs. This
There's
could
the
be
teleport.
it.
This is huge. Clutch Gaming on their last leg, balancing on a thread that 100 Thieves is looking to cut. Lyra pushing himself to the limit as he gets in the face of Cody-san. He has no mana, but he only needs the autos. 100 Thieves from new organization to first place. Now right another heist and attempt to take down Team Liquid in Miami.
And congratulations, 100 Thieves.
History has meant so little in spring 2018. A lot of things have changed this year. We had the longest match, we had the craziness, now we have the wildcard match, a best of 3 in SKT and KSV. Our first game on patch 8.6 as well. So much has changed, Achilles. We don't know how much has changed for this series, as SKT not interested in any Vel'Koz shenanigans.
Yeah, just gonna ban that one away, not giving Crown the opportunity to even look at that one. They'll answer with the Azir, as that's typically the matchup they like to go ahead and take that one into, and the Camille will also be off the table for Cuve.
It was interesting to hear Cuve talk about small champion pool for someone like Tal. Cuve has had an effective champion pool, much smaller than other top laners, dominated by his Camille play recently. He's a great Camille player. Gnar is the other big pick for him. I imagine both of them will be in consideration here, but on 8.6, Conqueror is in the meta. Rageblade has been changed, the Jhin priority is up. A lot has changed, and SKT says, What about your comfort? It's gone, as the comfort picks for QV and Crown are largely answered. It draws a last ban on the Swain. Now, usually Olaf is what we talk about here as a first pick, but the Jungle Trundle has been played in the LCK.
Oh,
and a first
there we
pick
go.
on Kai'Sa.
All right, heavy priority, the first one.
This is a
that we're gonna
surprise,
see
Achilles.
locked in.
Now, Bang is rank 1 in Challenger right now, has been playing the Kai'Sa. The Kai'Sa build will be very interesting to see, as Ruler and Bang have had disagreements on the best build. It's also surprising priority, because Kai'Sa was enabled in Challenger's career and hasn't been picked. It went through pick and bans, so this is a surprise. I watched the Griffin series, didn't see any Kai'Sa. We see it first picked in this game. And KSV answer with Caitlyn, which for EU fans would be very normal. But in the LCK, we've only seen one game from Ruler on the Caitlyn. It was a loss. He did not look impressive on it. It's going to have to be thick and fast. And we're seeing a lot of 8.6 instantly locked in.
That we are. Galio very swiftly picked up here for FLICKR, so maximum comfort. A hover over the Nidalee. But that would be a bit of a reach, and that's going to be the Trundle coming through. Could always be Flex to the top lane, but as you're saying, it has been rising in popularity in the jungle.
And this is a really interesting point to make, because my first thought is Jungle Trundle, because that is what has been seen as an answering pick into the Olaf. It'd be our first Jungle Trundle in forever. In fact, Cloud Templar, one of the Korean casters, might have been the last player in the LCK, then Champions, to play Jungle Trundle. But we have Tal on the team. Tuhal is the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
It means to lock in Trundle. He's 2-0 on the Trundle, so it's a true Trundle flex pick because of what has happened in other regions bleeding over to the LCK playoffs.
Well, yet again, maximum comfort here for Crown as he just retreats back onto the Karma. A very consistent pick for him.
Always an outside chance of that being a support Karma, so we'll talk about the flex picks here. It would be an intense pushing lane, and Kai'Sa's wave clear in the early game is nothing to write home about. So it could be Core JJ returning to the range supports as well. Speaking of range supports, SKT says, well, that's probably going to be Crown as they ban away the Morgana support. Core JJ has played almost 20 games of support Morgana recently. Again, a big pick in other regions. I feel like there's been a lot of time for these players to look around, see what's happening in other regions, and try to bust it out in the LCK, because we're seeing innovation on patch 8.6.
Innovation, experimentation, whatever you want to call it, it certainly is spilling forth here, which just gives me that much more hope for the rest of this playoff run as we continue down the gauntlet and see what the other teams have been focusing on as well. But final ban following up on that rise will be Tahm Kench taken away by SKT, and a gangplank locked in for KSV out of the top lane.
Expecting there to be tank top laner, but Cassio top is a big pick for Tal. This is going to be a Cassiopeia top lane into the gangplank to try to target him down. So Jungle Trundle for the first time in a long time. The Alistair is what Effort brings back, talked about it in the trash talk. A lot of new stuff on SKT, and then the Galio that was the defining pick for FLICKR in Worlds last year. Go to KSV. They can choose to just run the Karma mid like we originally assumed. Core JJ jumps onto Ultra Comfort. To me, the jungle matchup is the big one to talk about here. Trundle is seen as a counter pick. It has a lot of options against the Olaf at level 3, also at level 6. Ambition is also on the Olaf and usually is a defensive jungler. And if you're just power farming with the Olaf, you might clear a lot of camps, but you don't get the same sort of value. KSV have a momentum-based draft around the Caitlyn wave clear, and also the Karma being able to buff up the Caitlyn. This worked the first time for KSV, and then fell away a couple of times in a row, these Karma mid lane drafts. They do have some late game insurance in the Gangplank, but if you see Blank getting ahead in this game, and that's a big if, only Zac has been what he's performed on, but if Blank can make it work on the Trundle that both these junglers have been practicing, SKT have a very strong draft.
Plenty of opportunities for skirmishing between the Olaf and the Trundle. Nate Sustain built into the kits. We'll see if these guys are going to be invading on each other, if they're going to play super safe here in game number 1. That's definitely the matchup that is probably the most important going on here in this game, but got to give it over to the Kai'Sa. Really excited to see Bang on this.
There's just so much 8.6 in this draft. These teams are not going for what worked on 8.5. They are innovating quickly. They are taking their solo queue that everyone's been playing a lot and bringing in. Kai'Sa is first picked by SKT. I'm happy I've been playing Achilles because there's a lot to unwrap here. and we also have the undying hype of it being a best-of-3, an elimination match, and a World Finals rematch.
Exactly that. You already mentioned it, the innovation, being quick. That is what is going to matter here in this best-of-3. Loser is out of the playoffs. Winner goes on to face KT in a best-of-5. Let's go ahead, kick this thing off in style. Game number 1, SKT versus KSV.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift yet again. Casio top for Tall.
Oh yeah, it's a tilter right there, as we all know.
I haven't cast a cast top in a while.
Fly high SKT T1, and of course the fans have come out in droves. Kilios, the tickets sold out in basically the blink of an eye. Less than 1 minute to sell out almost the entire playoffs. A lot of people frustrated, asking about those tickets. They're all gone, sadly. Not everyone in attendance just yet. It's early here in Korea, but the people will get here for at least game number 2. They'll need to, as the last 4 of the wildcard matches have been X team beating a FLICKR Freaks 2-0. FLICKR happily will get their first best-of-5. But let's talk about KSV's history in Korea, because people remember, this is Samsung Galaxy. These are the world champions. The other storyline was, in playoffs, they have never won a game. They have never won a series. They have always struggled in the best-of-5 phase. Now they find themselves in the best-of-3, and let's see how they do that.
Unless it's the regional qualifier, in
That's
which
true.
case they excel.
Different type of players.
Different type of pressure as well, and one where they're usually shutting down KT, not SK Telecom.
So we will see the Kai'Sa first picked in this game, not using the sick pink chroma that is endemic of a different game. Going for a different chroma here is Bang. The build is very interesting. The first build that rose to prominence was from Deft, which was Essence Reaver into situational item, usually the Phantom Dancer, the Rapid Fire Cannon, one of the Zeal items, and then Infinity Edge, so a pretty traditional build. The new build that's seeing a lot of prominence, I actually tried to ask a few pro players where this build came from. Some people said Korean solo queue, some people said NA solo queue, is the Death's Dance build that Ruler has been preferring in solo queue. Death's Dance as a first item into the newly changed Rageblade, buffed in some ways, changed Rageblade into National's Tooth for all 3 evolves at 3 items. And while it doesn't sound like a traditional damage build, it does insane damage as well at Kilios. So I think Essence Reaver is what Bang has been preferring, so we'll wait and see what he decides. But Rageblade synergy is pretty big on the Kai'Sa as well, so that's going to be a fun one to track.
Well, it's going to be slow and steady as she goes to start things off. Crown trying to poke down FLICKR, but with the Galio, he's not going to be taking nearly enough damage to force him out of that lane.
Now, we should mention again, Caitlyn comes in, not being a big pick in Korea. None of the bot laners here have been able to find much
Especially
value.
not for Ruler.
Not for Ruler. He's 0-1. He played it in one of the most recent series. Didn't seem to have the hang of it. Obviously, he's played it before, but when it comes to playing it once again in the current meta and the matchups that you're so practiced on, the Varus, for example, from Ruler, Caitlyn's a different thing. Big range advantage over the Kai'Sa. You would consider this to be a winning lane for the Caitlyn, but for now, lane control's pretty heavy on the side of SKT, despite there being a huge range discrepancy. And if you're not getting through laning phase with turret damage in a range advantage Caitlyn lane, you're not having a good time when it comes to the macro required for KSV to take over the mid game.
Yeah, already. Push going in underneath that turret with Bang inching out ahead as far as CS is concerned. FLICKR gonna flash away from that tether, so good pressure coming out of Crown here. Heard from him in that interview. FLICKR said, as long as I don't make a mistake, I should beat him. Getting forced out of lane that early and losing your flash. A minor one, but still a mistake.
A lot of things to talk about in this series. You talked about how in the regular season it was SKT 4-0 over KSV, and a lot of people come in today expecting SKT to win. But there's some other really interesting stats to talk about that we may have to hold the point, as Cassio's going to have to deal with an Olaf.
Yeah, he's going to be zipping his way in. Axe not going to connect, and Tall is going to be perfectly fine to stick around.
We have 5 teams in the playoffs in Korea, so we're just looking over the runes. You do see Presence of Mind, which is a pretty big one. This could be indicative of the Death's Dance build being opted into to try to circumvent some of the mana cost restrictions you'll have. You don't go for Essence Reaver, but again, it's very much experimental.
Oh, he's flashing in for it.
Optimistic.
They will stay alive at the end of the day, but flash down for him. Orange helps keep him up.
It's a really good matchup for Cassio. If it's pure 1v1, didn't have to use his flash. When Olaf came in, he's able to just do standing damage that QV has no way to respond to.
But Pulverize in here, looking for Ruler. He'll jump away with the 90 caliber net trap, not going to catch. Effort there at the end of the day. Just looking to trade up, but takes a bit of damage, but he's got the sustain there as the Alistar, so he'll be fine.
Caitlyn so much on the back foot in this game. Was no Varus ban, remember. Could have been the Varus. Varus changed a bit with the build paths changing his bot lane.
Ambition comes over the wall, headbutt there from Effort, flashes away from the Q. They'll flash in just to start up the concussive blows. They will get the lockdown, and First Blood goes over to Crown. Stopping by just to say thank you very much. Takes that for himself with the Mantra Q.
And that's something that Effort's been guilty of a few times this season, both at the start of the season when he was the starter and also back into the roster. He has gone on those vision walks alone and been caught. Does it on Tom Kench a lot of the time. This time on the Alistar. Be down in summoners. It could also mean lane control for all the core JJ and the bot side. First blood of the postseason goes the way of KSV.
Oh, petrifying gaze there.
QV's
QV does not have the flash. He's just going to die. Tall very swiftly returns here. Puts a kill onto the board for SK Telecom, trying to nullify that first blood for KSV.
Second game on the Cassio, looking a lot better than the first time, which was a loss in that series against BBQ. Wasn't a blind pick this time, and it's a really good matchup into the Gangplank, who just can't take standing damage trades. None of his builds will help him in the 1v1 either. Are you going to delay your Trinity Force for a more Malmortius or even a Hex Shrinker?
Hex Shrinker, yeah.
Sounds awful if it comes to the actual ability to play out the team fighting phase as the Gangplank, so might have gone into Resolve Tree. It may be no Klepto on the Gangplank, but there's not going to be any lane control either. And that's why they need bot lane to actually hold the Kai'Sa accountable. Because if they're getting pushed in top and bot, and Galio starts roaming, it could just be curtains for the side of KSV.
Yeah. I mean, Hero's entrance coming through with the killer instinct as well. Suddenly, everybody's on top of you and you're just dead.
Sorry,
QV trying to recover from this is going to be pretty brutal. He's already down by 600. Taunt not going to connect there as FLICKR gets rooted down and Crown will flash away.
Bang was shown on a River Ward there, coming through from, I believe, Crown. Could have been Ambition as well.
Yeah, just thrown down there into the pit.
Just a small thing to talk about when it comes to form against top 5, because SKT 4-0 over KSV definitely puts them in good standing for this series. SKT against Afrika, Kingzone, and KT, the other 3 teams in the playoffs, are 2-12 this season. 2 game wins and 12 game losses. They have not been able to be competitive against 3 out of the 4 teams in the top. You look at KSV, again, 0-4 against SKT, not good reading. KSV against Afrika, Kingzone, and KT are 7-8. They're almost 50% win rate against some of the best teams, including Kingzone, in this league. So while SKT are very well set up for this series, KSV actually have the better record against top 5. What part of that history matters, what part doesn't matter, we'll get to revisit, but it's fun to see that this has been the one matchup that SKT has looked really strong in.
Blank just going to go ahead, clear out the control. We'll revisit this Ocean Drake. We saw him start it up once, but the roam from core JJ forced him back. See if he wants to go for it again. For now, will not be doing so. It's just going to path back in, pick up that red buff, and QV is not having a good time. Down by 21 CS already here in the top lane as he tries to get some minions back here by using the barrels.
See a BF sword first on the Kai'Sa. Seems like it's probably going to be the Essence Reaver build going to be coming out in this game. Whatever build you go with the Kai'Sa, you can do a lot of assassination. You know, her ultimate is not a damage ultimate, it's a gap close ultimate.
Yep. Speaking of gap closing here, Blank trying to throw down that pillar, so Effort can get in range, but just can't do it. So members of KSV will be able to exit with their summoners still up.
Game plan here is going to be very interesting to track from SKT because Cassio, she wants to stay in a short lane as long as possible, just kill Gangplank over and over. The Kai'Sa, when turrets are down, has a lot of assassination potential with the Galio. Might actually be a conduit for the Hero's Entrance, which we never talk about, with an AD carry being the one you use the Hero's Entrance on aggressively, but could happen here. But then if you have long lanes, it's also a great time for Ambition to start ganking. So there could be a lot of playmaking when the turrets initially go down. KSV with the Caitlyn comp desperately want to pick up the first turret and rotate.
Oh, that's another petrifying gaze thrown down. Miasma comes through and QV is just dead. Nothing to do. Sheen will get completed, but that's not going to help him when it comes down to stopping this damage output from the Cassiopeia. He falls yet again. Tall is just so far ahead.
And he hasn't even needed the flash that time as bot lane, seeing an attempt at an all-in. I think this is going to be turned around.
Really nice Glacial Fissure there from core JJ. does keep himself safe, and they actually trade back onto effort quite nicely. But this is a game being won out of the top lane right now for SK Telecom.
And it feels like this was unscouted by KSV, but they should know that Tal is a top lane Cassio player, plays it a lot in solo queue. He may have lost on it in his one game that he's played on the big stage, but Tal does pick for lane. He's happy to go Trundle into tanks. He will go Cassio into a GP. They go for the blind gangplank, which is a takeaway from Tal. He's 6-1 on the pick. It's been his most winning champion. But we know he has reverse matchups as well. And compared to when he started the season, coming off European challenger scene play into SKT, sure, he was nervous. Those nerves are going down. And you're seeing it here in a very nice performance in the 1v1.
And already just going to get chunked down to half HP. Can barely trade anything back with the parlay. He is down by 40 CS, 39 now as he starts picking some up, but very massive loss of gold on that GP, not having the Kleptomancy. Ambition going to go ahead and start picking up the Rift Herald as he sees that Ocean Drake go over to SK Telecom. Should be able to get that and maybe try to transition into that first brick, targeting out that turret in the top lane to deny the short lane away from Tal. Would be a decent way to give KSV some leg work or leg room here, I suppose.
They're going for a walk, trying to see what's going on, but doesn't actually ward into the Rift Herald. Doesn't want to fully commit onto it anyway, wants to push in the minion wave against Karma. Vision will smite it away, picks up the Rift Herald buff. Wasn't in vision of SKT, but again, they would have inferred it. The control ward had been put down just by FLICKR momentarily ago. The thing to remember here is that because of the matchup, I feel like the one way still to try to exploit SKT is to target Blank, is try to be really aggressive around him in the early game. That's just not Ambition. It might be the Olaf, but it's not Ambition style. And the Trundle answers Olaf in a lot of the level 3 and early trades. So he's disincentivized in a couple of ways, both natural playstyle and the matchup to be aggressive. And while Blank has done nothing, he's farmed up, he's picked up a Ocean Drake, it hasn't been at the cost of SKT compared to other jungle matchups where that can be something to be held against the SKT jungler.
Yeah. Ahead now by 1,000 gold. You can see even Tal here with the Cassiopeia has done quite a bit of damage here onto this turret with the help of those minions. KSV looking to get those concussive blows procced against effort to lock him down. Maybe try to force out the ultimate, but won't be able to do so.
No all-ins when you're working on your Essence Reaver. Already has the gold for it, 200 gold after these 3 items complete, but all about the back timings here in bot lane. Crown has gone the earliest power spike build with the Athenes, so he's trying to have as much utility as early as possible. Ardent Sensor being worked on second. No Archangels in this particular game. Small nerf, but still going to be a very popular choice for a lot of our control mid laners.
It's 20 to 15% on the shield now.
Which means just a little bit less of a payoff when the Seraphs is complete. The top lane payoff came really early, as Tal already has 2 solo kills on Cuvée. Cuvée kind of has to ult turret most of the time. He's almost lost the turret solo as well. No jungle intervention from either side.
I think he's just going to give this one up. Hasn't used the ultimate, and now Tal maybe pushing forward towards down the ultimate. Perhaps try to trade something back. Petrifying Gaze doesn't connect. He takes a lot of damage, but Blank is here.
They don't know where Olaf is, so they don't want to go, and they see the Predator mark, so they think better of it. Galio hadn't been able to push mid lane, so wasn't there with the hero's entrance. They already got the objective, so why greed for a 3rd kill? No need to do that. The Cassio pick pays off dividends. Not often you see a counter pick on blue side. Gets so much value in the top lane, but KSV went for the gangplank takeaway. Cassio's trying to take away the game from KSV, purely from the 1v1.
It's been a pretty good look so far, you'd have to say.
Team fights here are so messy from the side of SKT, though. They're not really about the team fight. They can pull it off that way, but at the end of the day, largely going to be about the dive, and the only conduit for Hero's entrance outside of situationally the Kai'Sa will be the Alistair in most cases. I imagine we'll see Blank go for the Xerxes special and go for a Zeke's Convergence second as Trundle. Sort of thing I never considered, but it's a really cool idea, is that we only see Zeke's Convergence rush, in the LCK at least, from the Rakan, because you press R to initiate, and that's when the fight happens, and that's when you get the 50% damage amp. Well, guess what? When Trundle ults the Olaf, whoever's in the front line, that's a good time to start a fight also. Oh, it is also great use of the Zeke's convergence. We saw it on Skarner as well from Yankos in the EULCS semifinals. So I think more Zeke's convergence is likely to be seen in the LCK. See a little bit of head-to-head here. It's still 2 minutes till Cloud Drake spawns, but the vision mission happening very early on bot side.
Yeah, both sides just posturing around, clearing out these control wards as best as they can, so it will just be a trade of vision at the end of the day.
What we doing with that Rift Herald ambition? He's bot lane. He really wants to get the Caitlyn
Yeah,
going.
he's going to have to go ahead and channel that. It was almost expiring, so we'll pop this one. And now KSV, under threat of losing that tier 2. Like, going to take a bit of damage there from Crown.
At the end of the day, the tier 2 is not that important. It's more gold, but really KSV need to double down around Caitlyn because she's gone for a build that says, I want to push. That's exactly what Shiv into the BF sword is. Static Shiv was nerfed on this patch for less wave clear, but it's still Caitlyn. She still has great wave clear. She very much wants to go to short lanes and push them down, whereas on the side of SKT, their AD carry functions best in skirmishes and also assassination. She wants to avoid that scenario wherever possible. While the charge doesn't actually get the turret down, we'll see if Ruler and Core JJ can return and get this turret soon. Not if Blank has anything to do with it.
Well, a bit of damage, all that they're going to find off the backside of the Rift Herald. No real commitment to taking that down available here for KSV. Don't want to go too crazy. First brick's already been taken off the table by SK Telecom as they stretch ahead by 2,500 gold.
So difficult for KSV to win team fights in this game because whoever walks up, it's going to be a pseudo tank. I guess it's going to be Olaf or the Braum. And if you ult Olaf before he ults, he actually goes close to negative resists because of how the Trundle ultimate works. And that's painful, Achilles. You just die because you pillar behind him. Doesn't matter if he has Ragnarok, he's just dead. Yep. Same thing will happen with Braum. So true 5v5 team fights are almost impossible unless they have a massive gold lead, which is looking very unlikely as we crest 17 minutes and they're behind in gold. It's an objective-focused comp. 2 support items insanely early on the mid laner. Means they want to fight around 2-item Caitlyn. But can they get the fights they want when Gangplank is under his inner turret very early in the game, when vision control is there with SKT? Your first thought is no.
And Ruler, you would have to expect, if he gets hit by that petrifying gaze, he is just gone in this fight. No escapes, really, other than the 90 caliber net, and multiple ways for people to jump on him. So if he gets caught out by that, even with a QSS, I expect the Caitlyn is probably just dead. Second Dragon now going over here to SKT as Blank jukes out on that Q. Will not get slowed down, will not get stunned up, and he will just be able to exit. So KSV late to the party, lose out on another map objective.
Again, no 8.6 competitive data points. There was some 8.5 Kai'Sa in the LPL. We'll hold the point for now.
And Taunt coming down there onto Ambition, pops a Ragnarok, but the pillar interrupts him. He'll just go ahead and run away. Effort now coming around the side, gonna get spotted. Good check there from Ambition with the axe.
First 8.6 Kai'Sa in competitive outside of Challenger. We'll notice already enough AD for the Acathian Rain evolve, the Q evolve for even more burst damage on single targets and also helpful in wave clear as well. So 100 AD between the Essence Reaver and the Pickaxe. See what the second item is. Some people go Rageblade here because you can proc your W, and when it comes to your passive also, your passive procs very fast with the Phantom hit when you get these 6 stacks of the Rageblade. Other people will just go straight into a Zeal item. We'll wait and see as blue buff is stolen away by Bang of all people.
Takes that one for himself. So, gonna be extra safe with the mana on top of the Essence Reaver there, so going is no longer gonna be a concern.
And Presence of Mind has not been changed on patch 8.6, so you get first kill, and then of course, very likely that if a team fight extends, you're gonna have very, very high amount of mana in a team fight. No sign of Conqueror just yet, just looking over the runes, everything pretty standard. The phase rush to not be kited by the barrels, and also to get your own speed up as the Cassio. But 2 items now on Caitlyn. The question is, what do you do with it if you're KSV? You can't really roll up because you don't have aggressive vision anywhere on the map. You've been frustrated at trying to take the bot lane turret. You've already outlined that no one is a real frontliner if the Trundle is there. Plus you have the on-fire situation in the top lane. It's basically a meme right now, how far behind and how little control KSV has. It's not going to be Flame Horizon just yet, but his turret is already below 50% HP. He's not got any help from his jungler because there's a looming chance of a 1v2, so the end of the day, the Gangplank is on an island, and they want to play anywhere where the Gangplank isn't, ult, and hope they can win the 4v4, as they might turn onto Baron at 20 minutes. Remember, Cassio is traditionally a super high Baron damage dealer.
Yeah, she is just going to go ahead and rip this one apart. Even without a Mountain Drake, Blank will have enough sustain.
KSV don't know about it yet.
Juve is hovering around the area, but he's going to be distracted by that control ward.
Okay,
they're now sniffing this one out. Tull's down to half HP. They're going to spot this. Miasma will stop them from pushing forward. And SKT will peel back, but you can see they're willing to make these massive, risky calls.
Credit to KSV,
in order to get ahead.
They did their problem solving. They say, who is missing? Where can we see enemies? It's 20 minutes. Okay, Baron is spawned. How fast can they do it? Decently fast. It takes them about 12 seconds to move towards the Baron pit. It was going to take about 25 seconds to take down. At the end of the day, you need to problem solve. You have incomplete information, even if it looks clear, when we have the map hacks as spectators. They're able to respond. The Baron could have ended the game in many ways, but no Baron buff for SKT off spawn.
SKT, however, will go ahead and take down this turret. Poor Juve. Whatever lane he goes to, the turret just dies, it would seem. And as Ruler and Core JJ have been rotated up towards that top side, so Bang just going to go ahead and get a second one for SK Telecom as they keep pushing forward with the gold lead. Hasn't been a massive snowball lead that they've been building up rapidly, but is steadily increasing.
And it's not, it is Rage Blade second, so it's not going to be a Zeal item. You're not looking for your CDR and the full value out of the Essence Reaver in this build. It's a lot about mana regen, getting the Q active, and then also being able to abuse the new Rage Blade. Rage Blade was buffed in some ways and nerfed in other ways. No longer as good a first item on Kog'Maw and Varus. Insane on Jhin. Guys, Jhin is with fourth item, Rage Blade. Insane on this patch with how it's calculated. I believe that'll be changed on 8.7. But it's live on 8.6. But also in many ways, it builds better. It hasn't been relevant in this game. But before, you built a recurve bow, a pickaxe, and you felt really bad about the blasting wand and the recipe together costing a lot of gold. It was 1725 gold usually sat on to complete it. Now it's an amp tome and 690 gold. It's actually only 1125 gold, so 600 less gold you're sitting on is a big indirect buff to some of the best abusers of the on-hit being applied twice passive, the Devourer effect. And Kai'Sa's another one of those because how her passive interacts means a lot of missing health damage to a single target. So single target burst is what this Kai'Sa has. She's basically an assassin in AD Carry's clothing.
Baron just being postured around here by both teams as they try to get some vision control. KSV will be able to move in at the end as FLICKR's going to get locked down, pops the taunt just to try to draw a crown in. Maybe to get a turret shot and have effort set up for that headbutt pulverize, but not going to be found. KSV do get some room to breathe as they push into that upper side of the river. Get some vision laid down, something that has been lacking severely on that side of the map for quite some time.
Weirdly, the best news story for KSV is that SKT's Baron duo in many ways is Cassiopeia and Kai'Sa, and they can't be in the same spot because Cassiopeia is best used busting the Gangplank in the bot lane and having the teleport. So amusingly, it's going to be hard to group their insane Baron damage threats together. Means while their Baron threat is decent, it's not quite as big as the Cassiopeia. Here we go.
Where JJ gonna get jumped on. Now effort trying to kite his way back. They're not gonna get rooted down, and Ambition has to flash to the other side of that pillar. Beautifully placed by Blank, does cost them that. So KSV will be able to exit. No kills going over to either side. Flashes down from the support and from the jungler respectively.
Very refreshing to see Olaf look vulnerable, but that's what Trundle can do with the pillar. Used to be the Ghost Olaf being countered by the Jarvan Cataclysm days. Now that we have Flash Olaf, Trundle is the most reliable way. Stop getting any value out of that ultimate. Has to flash away. No terrain gain on either side. Cassio goes back bot lane, and we regroup again, Achilles.
Just keep doing it over and over again until somebody dies or until a Baron goes down. KSV in the meantime looking to get their first dragon of the game. Ocean, another one coming through.
Be nice to pick up something. They've really got only a kill to their names. As Tal says, maybe not.
He's just going to push over the side here. Juve yet again going down very low. Ambition able to finish that one up, but Juve has to flash away at the end of the day, and now Ambition's in a bad spot. Remember, his flash is down. The pillar comes through, and that's going to be a kill going over to Bang. Effort will get locked in. He takes a massive amount. The heal comes through, but Ruler manages to claim him in the end with the help of that red buff.
FLICKR.
Another one picked up. FLICKR coming around the back.
Misses.
Flashes in. but not going to be finding anything. And now he's too far forward, blocked off by that Justice Punch. Miasma comes down and he goes golden. KSV takes so much damage there on the core JJ, who can't really frontline any longer, but FLICKR, he's still in here. He's going to go down.
Didn't have an escape plan, tried to go 1-for-1, can't do it. Takes a long time to kill the Galio in the reverse situation we already said. Trundle ults the first target, they die. Not the same busting power here as we see the fight go on. As Crown is grouped.
Flank getting worked down. Q from the Braum, not going to connect. And KSV maybe can get a little bit of damage in onto this turret. All takes a hit. Crown goes low, but the hits are coming through from the Caitlyn. Ace in the hole will be blocked by Bang, and now QV is too far forward. Headbutt pulverize takes him down as Bang claims another.
You can tell what happens when 25 minutes of inaction are followed by some action. Everyone gets a little bit over the top. A couple of people go down in unsociable fashion. First it's FLICKR, who will be alive with teleport in 5 seconds and the hero's entrance. So SKT start to posture around Baron. Trying to get the surprise there. QV can understand his frustration of being in the Casio lane for the entire game. Gives away another kill, doesn't do himself any level of benefit. At the start of that fight, we saw a preview of this sort of assassination available to the side of the Kai'Sa. Insane in the 1v1. She doesn't have to worry about her own safety. We'll definitely see plenty of that on patch 8.6.
KSV immediately shoving back out here. Multiple members trying to regain control of the vision around Baron. Vision will go ahead and get the control ward inside the pit. Core JJ feeling safe enough to push forward here for the moment, but now that he sees effort, we'll just have to leave that one standing. And they also get the Scuttle Crab, so some longer standing vision available for KSV around that side. As Tall is just going to steal away a blue buff. The rest of KSV interested in this turret. Effort goes forward, but might have just been to his death. Yes, it is. Reckless Swing comes through and Ambition finds the kill, but SKT are collapsing. Pillar comes through yet again. Miasma catches so many members and they are just going to fall one after the other. A triple kill over to Tall. He will get taken down by Crown in the end, but the damage is done.
The combination of the Miasma and just the sheer damage coming through from Hurricane on Bang was intense. Able to get a trade up in kills for the side of SKT, but they lose their Kai'Sa and their Casio, so they can't turn it into a Baron, which is usually the reward for a fight around 27 minutes.
Yeah, Effort now gonna respawn. A 2 for 3 at the end of that one, with Effort already having been killed. So you can see the power that SKT has with this composition, and KSV, they need to learn to play around this, or it's just going to be a whole lot more of that.
They just can't Achilles with the comp they've drafted. That's why I like SKT's draft. We watched the replay. Effort says, I'm low, but I can be the conduit for the hero's entrance to come in. That's out of position. But Bang is feeling it. Goes in with the ultimate, knowing how much damage he can do. The Miasma on so many members. They have great follow-up damage, but it's with pretty significant cost as QV is able to actually tussle and the tether from Crown lands. That means no Baron. Let's also talk about the item build. With Hurricane complete, there is now evolution on both the Supercharge and the Q. So Q and E are now evolved for the side of Bang. Able to, with over 100% attack speed, also in fights, dodge in and out.
Oh, that gold discrepancy there.
It's huge. So with the ability to go invisible. But remember that Hurricane bolts also proc the Supercharge, so you basically have close to 100% uptime on a crazy attack speed steroid like the Supercharge on Kai'Sa.
3,500 gold just about there between QV and Tall.
No free gold generation, no free lunches for the Gangplank anymore, and he was so well held in the 1v1 that we can't be surprised.
Yeah, 5-1 and 2 is Tall after that triple kill comes in. So he's looking pretty scary. Seraph's Embrace completed, Void Staff with Azonia's, and the Leandri's Torment. FLICKR as well is feeling pretty feisty with the Galio, not going to be seeing the Abyssal Mask. He is going for the AP, Zonia's Ludens on top of the fully stacked Rod of Ages, and Sork Boots, just for good measure. So FLICKR wants to claim some lives.
To me, KSV need to keep playing the maps. They can't opt into 5v5. I feel like in almost every way SKT has their answer. Strondor will make anyone attempting to be a frontliner vulnerable. And guess what? Casio and Kai'Sa will instant kill you, basically, with sheer damage. So there's almost no way to pull off these team fights unless you have a big terrain advantage around the Baron with control wards, or if you're just playing in the open and sieging. That's really the only place I see this happy is there's going to have to be the Ragnarok.
Right, Ragnarok popped. Ambition tries to go back in the trade a little bit back. Mirage comes down. Effort and Bang both low. He tries to flash away, and Effort will make it out here with his life as FLICKR comes in. With that entrance, will just Justice punch his way to safety. SKT's going to be on the retreat, so KSV able to push forward here for the moment and likely take down this turret in mid. That's their first of the game, 30 minutes in just about.
Need a team being
if they
proactive
can even
there.
finish it off.
But end up being KSV trading up. They're going to get the turret after all. Mid lane turret goes down. KSV and SKT both seem very tenuous around that play, knowing that at 30 minutes the cost can be high. But that's the advantage. The one advantage KSV have is if you have one of those fights where the big engage ultimates are on cooldown, the reset for KSV to go mid, Mantra Inspire to movement speed, and auto-attack a turret with traps is much quicker than the hero's entrance coming off cooldown. So the fallback for KSV into Siege is the one area around the game where they can actually get advantages on SKT.
Tall here at the moment. He'll just burn down this Ocean Drake and do so solo with no problem. That'll be the third for SK Telecom, and the last one spawned before we see the Elder pop his head out. So set up nicely for that one is SK Telecom, because you think about the true damage coming through off the back of this Kai'Sa and this Cassiopeia, and it just sounds disgusting. KSV will have to fight tooth and nail to stop that once the Elder enters the rift.
I see the build coming through from Galio. It's gone for the Ludens. First time we've seen Ludens Galio in the LCK, so 20% CDR there. Most Galios go Transcendence for another 10%. Depending on the rune page they use, there is Sorcery second here for FLICKR, who went Aftershock for the early resists. But high CDR for the hero's entrance returns. Again, Kai'Sa, really good in skirmish. 1v1, 2v2. In 5v5s, if your tank line is stronger, which I believe it is, very strong. In sieging, well, that's the one area she's not really set up for, even with the range buff, 525 range. Nothing massive, so for now, SKT unable to break the mid lane turret. That's delayed their game plan as they want to play around Baron, peel, put down a pillar, and kill the first map.
Shout out to Tal, who did get that Flame Horizon at the end of the day. Has had it for a little while now. Blank throws down the pillar. Several members of KSV going to be slowed up. The Blank already takes a bit of damage there, and the shields will just help KSV eject themselves from the fight.
Mantra on cooldown for about another 10 seconds, so something to return to, but SKT, it's all about posturing. One control ward at their entrance, one in the river for KSV. No forward vision for either team, though. Makes them so tenuous in these 5v5s.
Another pillar down. FLICKR goes over. He catches multiple members with the taunt. Core JJ throws out the Glacial Fissure, only gets a pop up there. On to Effort, and now Tal comes around from the side, takes a big chunk of damage from Ruler, who trades it back. Tries to keep them out of the fight, and nobody's going to die yet. KSV push forward yet again, poking out with the Qs from the Caitlyn with the axes. FLICKR goes forward, but he might just be punished for it. Has the Zhonya's, keeps himself alive, and Ambition is there, and he takes him down with a reckless swing.
So good at kiting out. They're really using the Inspire so well here at KSV. They're going to turn on to Baron from this, you'd have to think. They're able to disengage. All flashes are used, but then SKT goes back in without actually being in right formation. So all summoners being down on both sides, basically, is turned around, and KSV should get Baron.
Yeah, the shields will go ahead, keep Ambition in the fight. He can sustain off the swings from the W.
5,000 health from the Baron.
Coming through, Tal getting ready to rejoin, and KSV is peeled off. They get the lockdown there on the Blank. Bang, firing off, gets most of that damage blocked there by Core JJ with the Unbreakable, but he is still dangerously low, and now SKT maybe just looking for this mid turret. KSV is trying to find their way in.
Pillar stops them from getting there, gets in the mid lane turret.
Effort goes forward, but can't find anything. The Ragnarok pop perfectly timed, but Bang goes over with the R. The Killer Instinct helps take him down, but maybe he's overextended. He has. Ruler punishes him.
We have Lee Syndrome, there's some Kai'Sa Syndrome too. If you take that R, you're never sure exactly where the fallback will be. He swaps his life for the enemy jungler. Not worth it as an AD carry, even if the Smite and Cassiopeia is on the Rift. It's our first game of Kai'Sa in the LCK. There's plenty of bugs to be worked out, both in terms of build path and in terms of approach. But SKT, they're just going to go to Baron anyway, because they saw the full reset from KSV.
They are going to hard commit to this one. The TP now coming through onto the backside. Cube getting ready to
arrive.
Get it. No barrage available. He's going to have to try to seal this one out, but the miasma comes through, and SKT will be able to get the Baron, but can they make it out with their lives? Hiding up towards the top side of the map where they still do have that turret, but KSV is hot on their heels.
They're going to engage this.
Tal going to get locked down. Petrifying Gaze comes through. He finds one. Will be Crown going down. The Redemption not fast enough. They deny one buff, and that's going to be it.
Both these teams have made some pretty big calls, some wrong calls, some right calls. At the end of the day, both these teams are 9-9, 0 game score. Neither of these teams have been dominant, but we're seeing the in-the-moment calls actually separating the teams. You lose your AD carry, you remember, wait, we have Cassio, and we see the entire enemy team disengage. We do have the ability to rush down the Baron, and that's the correct call from SKT that they wouldn't necessarily have made 3 weeks ago when their fortunes were a lot more lean. Really close stuff here between both teams. Not clean in either way. You do take away 1 Baron buff here, but a top laner swap for a mid laner is not a big win either way.
So 3 Baron buffs remaining here as Bang had not respawned, so SKT have that to work with. Odd timing on that statement, Papa, because right now they are 9-9 with 0 match score.
That's true. I appreciate that. I always love when a plan comes together. What we've learned about these comps so far, because we're still learning a lot of the analysis around the Kai'Sa in particular, is that KSV do have a very strong fallback if the first target doesn't die. If they have flashes up, Olaf walks in, he gets ulted by Trundle, he flashes away, and then the enemy team, if they've used too many of their ultimates, then Mantra Inspire can just win the game through pure movement speed and the Caitlyn free hitting. SKT, with the right terrain, can delete that first member, then they should win the fights more comfortably. A lot of conditional statements there. All you need to know at home is that these fights are very, very even as we go on. And maybe the Kai'Sa positioning needs to be a little bit more safe. However, the Death's Dance is complete, not rushed by Bang. He's completed at 4th item, which means now the amount of selfish lifesteal he'll have out of his Q in particular. If you're dueling, if you get a 1v1 as Kai'Sa and have 20% damage reduction and insane physical damage spell vamp in many ways from your Q on a single target, it's almost impossible to lose a 1v1.
SKT now. Baron left for just over a minute as Effort is looking for an engage perhaps. Core JJ going to be caught out. He'll get locked down, throws out the Glacial Fissure. Redemption comes through and takes a little sidestep there with the stand behind me. Barrage has started chunking people down. Blank will have the flash over the wall.
Pillar is down, and also note that the Trundle ultimate is down. Very, very useful to deal with the Olaf. That's on cooldown now. Ambition's flash about 20 seconds away. That's another important thing to remember.
They currently have the inside track on the Elder Dragon as well as control of the vision in the area.
They can do this insanely fast. KSV cannot take any liberties. They check it now.
Burning it down in Effort. He's going on a solo mission around the backside. Secret Agent Alistar finds the gangplank, knocks him down. Killer Instinct immediately there from Bang, and he will scoop up the kill. Elder Dragon still being taken in Ambition. He's chunked out, has no way of getting in there. SKT will be able to claim this. Only 20 seconds of double buffs stacked on top of each other, but Elder Dragon times 3 equals a lot of true damage here. They can use to just rip apart KSV.
Ignar-esque from Effort, very nicely done. They don't want to make it a 5v5 where you abuse shields, find someone alone away from the Karma, and you will have deletion damage from Bang. So well played, and look at how short the cooldown is. We're going to have the Kai'Sa ultimate up again in half a second.
Yep, can go ahead and just pile over the wall should they want to go for the dive. SKT pushing on multiple fronts here. Tall on the bottom side, FLICKR in the mid. Just knocking down that inner turret. Top lane still standing. But that's just going to be the only reprieve here for KSV at the moment, as they are in such a bad spot. That Elder Dragon giving that one over to SKT was probably the last line of defense for this team. Well, unless they can pull a miracle out of the nether regions.
Remember, the real last line of defense is putting down traps against a poor siege team. They still have that.
This is true.
It is actually still really tricky for SKT, short of a full-on turret dive, to break the base. So that part is at least going to delay the game further. This one could go long, guys. It is at 40 minutes almost on the clock. While it seems like SKT have a lot of the better options, I like their 5v5 options. They've shown now if they get the right flank, they can subvert some of the Karma power. All that gets harder to do as you're going into very heavily defensively orientated terrain, like the enemy base, like the enemy inhibitor turrets. I don't think SKT will look for the turret dive unless it's the overlapping second Elder Drake and Baron buffs. But with the items as they are, with the Caitlyn at 6 items, but so far frustrated when it comes to finding damage, short of another Kai'Sa positioning mistake, it seems like SKT can just overwhelm whoever tries to be a frontliner from KSV, because it's just an Olaf and a Braum. It's nothing to write home about.
Well, 10-9, SKT with a very clear lead. Only 25 seconds left on that Elder Dragon. Effort goes poking forward, says nope, not going to go that way. does manage to peel back.
Man, Gangplank has fallen on hard times. This guy was ahead of the Bitcoin rush. This guy knew every cryptocurrency, had all the gold. This is post-crash Gangplank. He's come back down to reality, 40 minutes in, 3 items. He's got none of those helpers left anymore.
What am I going to do with all these graphic cards? I bought so many 1080s.
Apparently they're not working out for poor Gangplank in
My
this game.
life savings. All of that inheritance money gone. Grandpa, I'm sorry.
Don't often see a 5-item top laner versus a 3-item Gangplank, but that happened in this game.
SKT. Ward's coming down, looking for an entry, and Effort might have found it. Pops up to Ambition, gonna go ahead, try to get his way out of there. Finger goes in for the taunt, Justice Punch connects in. Ambition goes low, and he's gonna die. Finger goes golden, but he'll get taken down, but now Bang is into the back, but he's isolated himself. He finishes off one, and gets all of them! Triple kill, Bang! Are you kidding me? Insane play from him. He manages to stay on top. That's the death dance in action, and now SKT will go straight through the top lane. They'll take the inhibitor, and they're gonna take game number 1.
And that's why you first pick the Kai'Sa so strong. He's chasing on for another kill. Should be able to get a QV. Will he be chased down?
Tries to make his way in. Effort will get punished, but that's about it. The base crumbling now as SKT explode forth with one final fight. The pillar comes through. Bang gets another one. He debuts to Kai'Sa. They first pick it, and you can see why. SKT, game 1 over KSV.
So let's see what happens with Vitality. Desire ban coming in again. Tristana could also still be a ban if they want to keep trying to target Reckless.
Right.
And that is what they're doing. So they're putting a lot of focus on him, even though Fnatic found success around the mid lane in the last game.
Well, let's see what this happens in terms of then picks. Having the option to counter pick, having the option to get those stronger lanes that you've mentioned is a possibility.
Swain is open in this one. So far, Swain has been winning basically every single game here in Europe. And he's been the go-to first pick for most teams on blue side. Vitality needs to decide if they want to ban it or not. If they do leave it open and Fnatic grabs it, we need to see what Vitality can trade for that specific pick.
And of course, we've seen Bwipo utilizing Swain already at a slightly difficult early game. With Jhin removed, insta-lock Swain. There wasn't even hesitation there.
So I just want to say this from... I said this in the last game, and I'm going to say it again. I don't think Reckless gets impacted by these kind of bans, because he still plays a lot of other champions like Ezreal and Sivir, especially the Sivir is something he's, done really well on when you look at his Fnatic team. And it's not about him winning early game.
No.
It's not about him winning lane. It's about him playing team fights very well when we see Fnatic very often win their games. Of course, there are the one-off games where he just gets 5-0 in lane, but that's not what Fnatic is playing around.
No, definitely not the case. And you can see how serious Gilius looks on screen, by the way. First rotation for Vitality, it is the Camille and the Tahm Kench. No real surprise. If Tahm Kench is available, Jack Troll will be locking it in. He's played 8 games this split already, won 4, lost 4. This will be his 9th. And of course, that Camille We're expecting it to go top. Technically, the Swain could still flex as well, depending on how the draft plays out.
Yeah, for sure. They can just put Swain top and play around the lane and try and shut down Camille. That's definitely a possibility. Ezreal might just be the pick here, or Sivir to buff up the Swain further in team fights, and then Fnatic finds himself with a fine 80 carry, and they don't really care about 380 carry bans that much for themselves. Let's see if they actually decide to go for it. Vitality now needs to make sure they can actually get an advantage in terms of 80 carries.
So what do you run into the Ezreal then, knowing 5 ADCs already off the pool, 4 bans, 1 picked away? I mean, like you said, the Civ is still there. It could find itself in the ban pool in phase 2 if it's not picked now.
We know from in Truex, there's Jinx, there's Ashe, and then again, just to mention the Ziggs, and this is one of the picks we've seen from him. They need something where they can potentially play around him if they want to try and shut down Reckless. But I think with the Camille top, they're gonna move their attention to Capo Shot.
Got it.
That is what you normally see with this pick, and especially if it is going to be Camille against Swain, you're going to have to help Capo Shot. The Talia pick is going to try and do that, just like we have seen before from Vitality, but it is a shift, because they were playing only tanks top lane in the quarterfinal, and they were consistently playing around mid and bot lane. And they're going to try and change it now for this specific game.
Well, if anyone has the ability to step up, Cabo Shard might be one of those guys. Historically, going back years, used to be known as a carry player. But I have to go back a long time. 2015.
It is... or 16.
It has been a while since Cabo Shard has been one of the lead carries on a squad. And of course, if this Camille does get confirmed in the top lane and we get some sort of tank jungler for Gilius,
because now
they can play around.
When we expect him to play around top side, we could just get more of a defensive lane from Vitality. Like the Jinx pick can make a lot of sense here. We have actually seen Truex grab that specifically against Ezreal before. And his comments were, as long as I don't get hit by Qs from Ezreal, I can just push the wave. And like, I mean, you can't really argue with that logic. So it might be what he's looking to do here, and they just have some late game insurance from him, and they focus on top side of the map. I think from Gilius' side, we need to see a jungler where he can be proactive early, so he can help both Talia and Camille.
What would you like to see? Skarner's up, Sejuani's up, Zack's up.
Well, Zack is here as one of the picks that I thought would be super contested between the teams, just because he's had so much value in Europe specifically. Skarner can do the same. You can be proactive, fast, clear, good 1v1, and at level 6, you can try and guarantee some of those kills. So I like the change. And this is actually funny enough, the first time Gilius is playing Skarner this split, despite him being a meta pick for quite a while now.
Oh man, first, changing the style from quarterfinals, carry top instead of tank top. In addition, first time Skarner. In addition, Buipo, first a GP, because I'm assuming that Caps will be taking that Swain mid.
Okay, might not be the Jinx, but we might still get that late game carry. I know actually they swap it over to Sivir on Vitality side. There's more ways to try and buff up
the Camille, the
Skarner. And the Skarner.
That's a great synergy.
That GP is going to be interesting to follow, because that actually gives Vitality a few more ways to try and get ahead early on top side. GP traditionally is not doing a lot in the early game other than just farm, and then he's utilizing his ulti to, of course, impact the rest of the map. But going for kills against him with Camille, Skarner, and, of course, Talia, he's going to be squishy. Yes, he can eat an orange to get out of some of the CC, but you're not getting out of Camille ult.
No, you're not. Sure. And of course, you're going to get run down by Camille, Skarner, Talia, Sivir, once they start playing around that lane and grouping up. But we heard it from Soaz just in that pre-game interview, talking about how when you have a new player to the stage, you can play around him, play into his lane, play to activate him. There's maybe some options that Fnatic will have to do to protect this GP.
Yeah, it definitely feels like bot lane is going to be just farm lane, and everything is around mid and top lane for these teams here. Of course, more of a scaling jungler for Broxah compared to last game within Italy.
Yeah.
This game here, Vitality will have the options from draft to snowball early game. Top lane, mid lane is where we're looking at. Honestly, this might be the most important game Vitality as an organization has ever played in League of Legends, because they cannot afford to go down 2-0 and lose on red side.
Making it to semi-finals with this group of rookies that qualified under the banner of Giants. 4 of the 5. They surprised everybody going 7-1 into the split. And as the players load into the game, we're going to check in with Dracos, who's standing by with Vitality's coach.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by Yamato Cannon. Now, Yamato, it was a bit of a rough game 1. I'm curious what you've changed now coming into game 2 to make sure you can pick up the win.
This game, the first game was all about what happened in mid lane. I think Fnatic did adjustments with how they play around mid lane, and it paid off. In terms of adjustments, I was happy with the draft. The outcome was very good for us. We got so much information of what Fnatic wanted to do. And I think coming into the next game, we just made minor adjustments. Red side, of course, is a lot different. And we just need to reset our mind. It's just one game.
All right, well, interested to see how it plays out. Good luck in your second game. For now, back to you guys on the caster desk.
Thank you very much. I absolutely love hearing that from Yamato. We learned a lot, we adapted, now we'll see whether or not it pays off in game, because that's what matters. And of course, all the pressure on Vitality, because as we went into that little chat, Fisher, you were saying possibly the most important League of Legends game for this organization ever. Crashed out at quarterfinals in years gone by in previous splits. Perennial 7th place squad for many times, not even making playoffs often.
It's funny because if you remember Elements, they used to always be the ones just missing playoffs. And after they disappeared, I felt like Vitality took their spot.
Oh, yes.
Always sitting just outside until this lineup here, until these new players enter the scene. Fnatic and all level 1.
Blastcone! Boom! Here comes Fnatic! Gilius is running for his life. How many flashes will get expended? That's one. Mini Trupax gets tagged up. There's no further follow-up. I got so excited, and nobody's died. Re-engage from Vitality as the Sentinel continues to be focused out. Smite fight! Picked up by Broxah, of course. Now they can engage back onto Gilius. Jack drops to 200 HP. Gilius is going low. Reckless summoning heal and flash. First blood picked up by Hylissang, but the reply from Jack Troll. He gets one back. As Fnatic and Vitality back away. It's not done yet. Bwipo is shooting Cabochard in the face, and all the action all the time.
All right, Fnatic, second time to try something level 1 here. They're using the fact that Braum is the best level 1 support when it comes to finding one target and try and burn them down. More down to Bwipo, he's flashing.
Bwipo flashes Q. No, he doesn't have it. He flashed through the tactical sweep. Oh, come on, you're kidding me? They're going to fight in the mid lane. Cap's going to get jumped on here by Jizuke. Throws out the Death's Hand. I keep building this one up. Man, what a start to a game.
Welcome to Fnatic versus Vitality with a bunch of early game action already. We get the replay from before. So they know they have Braum. Also Sejuani can try and apply even more CC here. So they go for the level 1. Thinking they can always win this, and they actually force Vitality away, but now they're tanking. But you know, screw it. Gilius, he's top lane. He wants to gank. He wants to snowball top.
Oh, do you remember that flash Bwipo used earlier? How much will this come to hurt him? The fracture into the Crystal Slash eats an orange, but it's not okay. Hook shot to the face, and Gilius sends his regards.
So much happened bot side that while we swapped up to top lane and we saw the potential all in, the fact that he actually did that gave Gilius a chance to go for an early gank. And he just got level 2, grabbed the red buff, and goes straight top lane. It's a good adaptation from Gilius, important. Gangplank level 1 is also great because his parlay deals pretty serious damage there. Camille can't do much pure level 1, but then when he uses flash, he sets up an easy gank. Cabochard gets only the assist for himself, but at least he gets a bit of time to get some farm.
Even as far as gold is concerned in the game, both supports were the ones that picked up the kills in that exchange at blue buff. And it's Gilius that's picked up the first gank, so he's got a minor advantage over Broxah for now.
Yeah, and small advantage bot for Mini Trupax with the fact they actually killed Reckless. It was Gilius who died on the other side for Vitality, so that didn't really set the lane behind. And Mini Trupax has been able to go down bot lane and get early push for himself. But okay, we've already seen what Vitality wants to do. We talked about in the pick and ban phase, a lot more focus around top side with this Camille pick. Especially against Gangplank, who's going to be squishy, going to take a ton of damage in these fights, and there's going to be a Talia coming later to try and shut him down.
Well, Bwipo didn't quite get the powder cake chain just a moment ago. Cabochard was able to use that passive, block a lot of the trades, and he's currently shoving the wave into Bwipo.
Yeah, notice his minion wave here. Now, as Fnatic, you can communicate. This wave will push top lane. There's no flash on Camille. So there is a chance that a play can happen on top side, or at least force Cabochard to play a little bit more passive, because he's scared. He knows he's going to overextend to push this all the way out. Broxah, on the other hand, though, he's saying, no, guys, I just need my camps. I don't want to go top lane here. The wave, nope, don't care. So Cabochard will get to push it out, won't get forced away and potentially lose even more CS.
All right, so he can maintain that advantage. Try to push ahead, keep the pressure on Cabochard's side. Because once the wave
recall.
Yeah, and once the wave pushes back, then all of a sudden there's another opportunity for Gilius to jump back in there and play around that lane.
There's a lot of back and forths. In that case, Gilius can actually go topside now. He can go for the Crux, clear that camp, and then see if the Gangplank is overextending or not. Sadly for Gilius, he's only level 3 to level 5 of Broxah because he lost, of course, the initial camp. Then he went for the first gank, and he's actually been set pretty far behind because of it. see if he can get a bunch of kills to get some experience back or not.
It's interesting to see what Gilius will do as this early game plays out, because what we've learned from the regular season, Gilius giveth wins from the early game and Gilius taketh wins in the early game, because he really is the tip of the spear for that squad.
It is very true. He's the man who sets up everything early, and then Jizuke takes over after him. But now we got level 6 on Taliyah. We've talked about how go top lane can be the answer. Gangplank cannot get away from the Camille ult itself. But it is not available yet, because Cover Shot is only level 5 on his side. So Jizuke will have to wait a little bit longer. Classic support move, trying to be a nice guy and save the CS for your AD carry. And then you get poked.
Yeah, take
the life of support.
Mini Troopex, by the way. He finished that recalls, come back into lane with the BF sword. And now Hilly and Reckless a little behind in tempo there. Gilius continues to show his face top, continues to play around this lane.
It's what we talked about, him doing the Crocs. He got a little bit delayed because he went mid first. Fnatic seem to be aware there's a high chance he's up here. Broxah is on his way for potential lane counter gank. Let's see. Caboshot is trying to set it up. Gilius going in, but I think the Gangplank is too far away.
Weepo's got access to that cannon barrage, and Gilius didn't stop to kill the ward.
It was a control ward there, so...
Doesn't want to waste any of the time. Now, Brox is going to be available if any possibilities open up. Neither top laner has a flash. Weepo takes a big chunk of damage from that hook shot and sweep. And looking at the mini-map, there's the potential roam from Caps.
And if a Jizuke can push out mid, he can go top lane first. Caps is trying to match the push and then walk with him, seeing as there's no TP on him. Oh, a lot of damage.
Ricochet, Ricochet. Not going to have the range.
Good first back from Mini Truebacks grabbing this BF shot. I think Reckless just got interrupted as well by Jack Troll, just denying even more time. It's a good play from Vitality's bottom lane. And meanwhile, top, no follow-up gank, flashes back up.
Oh man, the tension continues to build in Game 2 of the semi-final while Reckless has backed away. A reminder that we've got a new way to watch the game. If you head over to twitch.tv/riotgames2, you can check out Reckless's point of view stream. Watch the game through his eyes. After consulting with Fnatic's management, it's important to know the overlay has been adjusted to show more of the action. Twitch chat, we got you, fam. So go check that out and let's see what they can do. Back to game though. And back to this, 8 minutes in, even on gold. The game plan's playing out exactly as expected, but does Gilius need to do more for Vitality?
I mean, he already did execute the first gank. I think him farming for level 6 is fine, but it is a problem for him that he's still slightly behind here. I think the only unexpected thing was Vitality's bot lane getting that advantage from the actual level 1 because they killed the AD carry, which was big. Yeah, they lost the blue buff, but they got the early control on bottom side, early recall from Mini Truebacks with the BF sword. So this bot lane turret, just in the 2v2, is extremely low. There's a high chance Vitality can secure that first turret for themselves.
And then start playing the map even more.
Yeah, then you have Tahm Kench. So the moment you can unleash him, you get a lot of tempo advantage when it comes to lane swapping with the Tahm Kench ulti. So there is a way for Vitality to just swap bot side now, try and secure the first turret. I mean, swap bot side with where to put pressure. Get the first turret and then use that to open up the map a bit more. Reckless with classic Tier Sheen. That means sit back and kill minions with Q.
You're in that power trough of your tier, you know? Going back legacy days, your legacy team, you got to bring out the legacy stories to Fisho.
Drinking game, by the way. Every time Trevor says legacy, drink at home. And that was 3 right there.
Well, there we go. It only just started now, so those don't count. Looking at Broxah, he's going to show his face down the bottom lane. That tower's under a lot of pressure. And what a different opening we've seen this game from the previous. Broxah in the previous match spent a lot of time around Caps, who's now under trouble. Gilius gets the flash impale backwards. Good damage from Jizuke. The seismic shove connects as well. Here comes Jack Troll, and Caps survives a very long time before Gilius takes him out.
Broxah wanted to get an assist there and hit his mid laner in the face.
Did not save his mid laner's life. Vitality with another good kill.
I think that surprised Caps so much because Jizuke wasn't even back in the mid lane when Gilius flashes into ult him, pull him back, then stun him right after, keeping this Swain in check for so long that Jizuke and Jack Troll showed up here. Now they're invading for this blue buff. Vitality, much better early game. They're getting kills around mid. They've gotten a kill around top. And look at Caboshot on this Camille now, applying a ton of pressure. Yes, first few levels, it kind of sucks against GP, but then you're more than fine.
Small reset to the blue buff. This could help Fnatic out, but Caboshot's being pulled down to support. He's got 20 CS up just shy of that against Bwipo. Now Caps is in trouble. Gonna get caught out by the Hextech ultimate to Brox's ultimate's on cooldown, remember. Dash over the wall. So is Demonic Ascension. Brox is doing his best to dissuade Vitality, and with the help of a cannon barrage, Vitality are running for their lives. Powder Keg will not find a target, but Brox may be here to save Cabo and the rest of his team. Cabo's dove forward. He gets the burst down with the Q, and now Cabo's in trouble. This is messy. They're trading 2 for 1. While all that's going on, Vitality get tower first blood, and then the chaos. Vitality lead by 2,000 gold.
5 kills, first turret for themselves. Mini Troopax doing well in lane, but more importantly up in that trade here, we saw Kamsa jumped in, and it looked like he was going in alone, but Jizuke could follow up. Might be a fight here. It's an Ezra with TNC.
Yeah, we'll see how long this takes to kill Jack. A long time.
Probably forever. So, meanwhile, fights around top side, and I think another important thing, Caps used his TP back to lane. He cannot match the first roam from Jizuke now with his ulti once it's ready. This is the initial fight, no ult on the Swain, so he's a lot weaker than normally. But look at this here. Vitality disengaged, he's like, okay, they're done because there's a full HP top laner coming, but Caboshot then calls for himself to go in and try and kill Broxa. He's alone 1v3 at the moment, but he deals enough damage to kill the jungler, and then Jizuke shows up to make sure it's a 2 for 1 trade.
We both thought it was too eager. We both thought, and you know, Vitality on the same page. The comms in the fights to Fischio are so good. So Vitality, they've got a number of kills under their belt. They've got kills on their carries. First Dragon, Infernal. First Tower, secured. And this is the early game that Reckless himself was saying he was scared of. On the Euphoria podcast, talked about the power that Vitality have at this stage of the game.
He predicted 3-2 himself, which actually surprised me, because normally players are always like, 3-0, we got it, easy peasy. No, you're saying there's a lot of good things Vitality can do, especially early on. So I'm very happy as a viewer of this game that we get to see that in Game 2. Yeah. We get to see why teams respect Vitality early on, and a lot of it is actually coming down to Gillies on the Skarner being very proactive.
Yeah, very proactive, and if you guys look at the minimap, I'd like to take a look at Vitality's vision from the bird's eye view. So we're going to zoom all the way out and show you just how deep into the bottom half of the map Vitality can now see. So there's some options and some ways to apply pressure to Fischio.
But now, because they've spent so much time bottom side, they got Infernal Drake because of the vision, they got the first turret, they can swap everything top. So we can just go back to normal as both teams are hovering around, both mid and top lane. We've seen Fnatic's dual lane also matching, go top lane, knowing, okay, there's going to be a Sivir, there's going to be a Tahm Kench showing up, and they need to try and stop the bleeding.
1,500 gold at 13 minutes. Already 7 kills on the board total. And of course, the Rift Herald is a focus, but not worth investing huge resources. For now, Jizuke is going to be the target. That's a flash forward from Hylissang. Never Move comes down. That's going to slow Jizuke down. In comes Brox as the Seismic Shove buys some time. Glacial Fissure knocks Gilius into the air, and the Blast Cone keeps him in place. Fnatic finds 2, and they open up the mid tower.
I was just about to talk about their ulti being ready for Jizuke. Now he could roam away from bot lane. Then Fnatic just go mid and flash straight onto his face. 2 kills for them. A bunch of damage on mid lane turret. Mini Truebax, however, is trying to respond top lane with Jack Troll, and they will be able to get another turret. So while we get all the fights around the other members, this Sivir and this Tahm Kench, with the early kills, they're doing everything they can to just farm and secure turrets for the team. Let's see Hylissang onto the 1 minion that's betraying Jizuke here, allowing Hilly to jump on it and actually get a melee range of the Talia. That's a kill. And that's another one onto Gilius. A good group around mid. Nice aggressive play from Hylissang.
Oh, such a good play. That's definitely tweet-worthy when LCS big play. But Vitality, they still maintain the objective lead. They've got the Dragon, they've got the towers. In theory, they have the options to play around the map. And of course, this waddling Sivir, always going to be difficult to deal with, no matter what stage of the game, because of how well Mini Truebax has started. Although, as I say that, forced to use Summon, a heal, and the ult, just by taking a lot of poke from Reckless.
Moving around mid lane again from Reckless and Hylissang. Obviously, if you are Vitality, you have both Tahm Kench and Talia ulti, so there's 2 big abilities to actually move around the map, and both kind of want to sit mid. Now they're looking towards bottom side because they are both mid, and they can use them now.
Oh, Bwipo's just going to get run down here. Jack Troll's coming in for good measure. Everybody's in the bottom lane, except Mini Truebax, who will get the kill credit. Hookshot bounces forward, it's Caboshot that takes him down. Mini Truebax's Summoner Flash has been used. Gets a lot of good damage down onto Reckless and Hilly, but not enough. 1 for 1 It looks like Reckless will get some damage on the tower.
And that kind of play from Vitality is very good as long as the guy on the other side walks away from his lane instantly, because you know the enemy team, the only answer for them is to cross-map you. Minitrubek sadly found himself under that turret. Instead of just stepping back, realizing it's not about him at the moment, he gives up a kill in return. Fnatic is starting Rift Herald, but I think Vitality, yeah, they're fast enough to stop this. Even it out, they just trade 1-for-1 in kills. And Gilius can get control of the Rift Scuttler.
Yeah, really important that Fnatic didn't get an extra advantage. But the way this game has gone, Deficio, I think we're in for another fight. Not a lot of ultimates available on the Vitality side. Only Gilius is impaled. Broxton and Hylissang waiting for some support from Reckless and Caps to make their way in. Long range on that Swain double. You can get thrown down at a moment's notice, and he's got full stacks on that Soul Shard. There goes the W, tags a couple of members of Vitality. The Rift Herald has just reset. All of Vitality's hard work is for naught, and a teleport was used as well.
It was cancelled. Now there's GP ulti and, of course, TP from the Gangplank, so suddenly Vitality needs to respect that multiple members can show up, and it looks like everyone just backs away in the end. Jackson will interrupt the recall.
Just to be a little obnoxious there, tongue lash into healing. But Deficio, this has been a very dramatic start. Chaotic, action-packed everywhere in the map.
Oh, he's going to do it again. He did it again.
Oh, it's just not cool.
Second time.
Yeah, he just really likes to lick Hylissang.
He does, yeah. Loves it.
Well, Vitality still maintain the gold lead. You can see these stats. They were down 2.5k at this moment in time in the previous game. Now they were up 1,000 gold. And the question is, how do they push this lead further?
Well, we know Minitrubek can kill the wave instantly. Ezreal needs a bit more time, so whenever Minitrubek push it out top or bot, he gets to go mid first with the rest of his team, and they can try and apply a bit of pressure on the mid lane turret, or secure vision in the river around that Rift Herald to get the advantageous situation to secure it. I think Fnatic, though, are going to be able to try and match it. They are fine sitting right now with both solo laners in the side lanes, as we see now with double TP as well. Cabochard is going all in.
He is indeed. Kicks dodged away from.
Talia
as Hextech ultimatum's been used. Broxa pulls Jizuki off the wall. And now Cabo is looking for a little bit more damage and the kill. Caps has arrived. He finishes the teleport. Gets caught by the seismic shock. Caps jumps forward and with the lightning zaps down Cabo. Buifo gets another in reply. And nobody from Fnatic die. It's a double kill. Death's hand for Caps.
That was so important for Fnatic. It looked like all the globals from Vitality could actually suddenly create a numbers advantage but to kill the enemy top laner, but instead it's Broxa interrupting Jizuke and Caps TPing in. And suddenly it's Fnatic getting 3 kills for themselves. Bot lane turret, Drake, everything suddenly going in favor of Fnatic.
Such a good turnaround, ready to pull the trigger. And Fnatic take the gold lead as we get past the 18 minutes, but that just looked exceptional response from Broxa and Caps.
One of those moments that can just be completely game-defining. The fact that it's not just another kill for Cabochard, while Fnatic are not getting anything on the map, but instead 3 kills plus turret plus Drake. Like, they get so much from this. Initial play, we talk about Tahm Kench Talia being mid means they can ult to side lanes. That's exactly what they're doing again, but Broxa just smites Jizuki. Like, here, they'll get down from there. And because TP then comes in from Caps, the rest of Vitality are not able to respond in time. Gilius is mid, Minitrubek was top lane, and this Swain with the stopwatch.
Unbelievable.
Enough to buy time for Fnatic to get all the kills.
Deficio, may I ask for some permission really quick for a quick stat which is on your screen? Actually, I'm just going to do it. Swain in the EU LCS is on a 14-game winning streak.
What's your point, Trevor?
I just like interesting stats. And do you see what Caps just did in their last replay?
What's the point?
It could be a 15-game winning streak, which would put Fnatic 1 game away from their first final in 2.5 years.
So are you trying to say...
Swain's pretty strong.
That's what you're trying to say?
Thank you, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at first.
Okay, superior analysis.
There you go.
One-liner from Deficio ruins my whole story.
Well, you read off a stat on the screen. I want to give you credit for that one. You've learned over the last few years.
To read. Thank you.
Exactly. You can now... I didn't want to say because it would be really rude, but now the secret is out.
There we go. Here's the truth. Learn to read on the EU LCS with interesting stats. And those interesting stats are telling me Fnatic is in the lead.
Yeah.
They've got the gold advantage. They've got the kill advantage. They're still playing for towers. They've got time for that.
Whenever we see this Swain you just talked about go through on blue side, we rarely see an answer where it's like, oh, okay, now they just won the draft because the enemy team had to first pick Swain. It's not really happened yet. Swain tends to get early kills for himself as well, and then suddenly he becomes really hard to deal with. Vitality are trying to play away from Caps at the moment as there's no TP, but they realize wherever Caps goes, he's probably gonna be the strongest player. So they will get top lane turret for Fnatic, and Vitality are trying to get bot lane, but that play before, and the reason I called it a game-defining place, because now Vitality are pushed so far back on the map, they can't easily use all these different ultis to get around and force more plays near the Camille. It's just that Fnatic getting the turrets.
Whoa, Hill is saying opportunistic ulti there, maybe expecting some sort of engage. Never came. So Glacial Fissure is on cooldown. Baron just spawned a few seconds ago. You can see instantly how all the vision is set up around the top half of the map. Jack Troll uses that cleanse and flash to get to safety, then devours mini true packs. While Bwipo's being dived on the bottom lane. Cabo shot plus Jizuke take him out at the cost of a mid-outer turret. This will allow Fnatic to secure the third of the game, and they're not done yet.
Can Vitality get 2 turrets bot lane plus that kill, then this can be worth it, but mid lane?
Well, there's the flash. Winter's Bite won't find a target yet, but look at Caps. He's flying forward. Kill credit secured by Broxah as Jack Troll is taken down in that demonic ascension form, and now Fnatic, they're going to look for the tower.
There's no minions mid, however, for Fnatic to try and kill the turret, so it's going to take a long time, and they have to back away for now, but next wave is on its way. Jizuke is running from base, but no, they can't do anything. So, Vitality create the play bot side, they get 2 turrets and a kill. Fnatic respond mid with exactly the same thing.
And there's a teleport instantly caught out by Cabo Shot. He's down before he can cast a spell. Manages to get 1 precision protocol down and then shut out. Gilly is forced to flash defensively. That impale will mean nothing as Bwipo shoots him in the face with the parlay. Officio, Vitality may be bringing the Chaos style today, but Fnatic over the years were born in it, were bred in it. They are experienced to deal with it, and now they are starting Baron.
Fnatic have played against Unicorns of Love so many years, so many finals as well.
Yes.
Going all the way back to the first spring in 2015, and let's see what happens here.
Wow, Brox is in a lot of trouble in that pit, dropped to 300 HP. Now Caps takes a chunk. Here comes Mini Truex, can't get through the hourglass. Bwipo manages to get the passive proc, and huge shield. Vitality, they don't get more, they'll be disappointed, but they've stopped the Baron.
And some of these plays here, Vitality, they're always so close. They see so many low members on the side of Fnatic, but they just can't get that last hit that secures the kill, and instead, it's Fnatic now with a 4K goal lead. A little bit smaller now after Vitality gets this turret, but we go way back, by the way. This is the original play bot lane to kill the Gangplank, and he just needs to buy enough time so that the rest of his team can actually kill something elsewhere on the map. And that's what he's doing. Kamsai will secure the kill with Jizuke, but mid-turret falls. Fnatic knows, be aggressive here. It's 4v3, go all in. We need to get kills, we need to get another turret. And Caps just lands the CC and pulls back Jack Troll, and suddenly that's a kill on the enemy support. And after this, it actually looks like they're not going to get the turret initially, because there's, you know, going to TP from Copper Shot and everything, but they stay. And when that TP comes in, well, he's too far away from his team. And they just jump him. They kill him instantly, and now you can't win the fight if you're Vitality, and you end up losing even more. So it looks difficult. Great start from them. They got some kills on top side, but I almost felt like the laning phase ended too quickly, so they couldn't keep setting up very easy plays, and now it's like always all in.
Well, here comes Gilius. Manages to get the impeller when Hillisang mid-air. He was flying frozen in the sky, but there wasn't enough damage. Fnatic turned this around, destroy the rookies, and they are looking set for a showdown with G2 in the finals. Fnatic are outclassing Vitality right now. Look at Jizuke's face.
And now Fnatic will get the Baron for themselves. They can grab an Infernal Drake on the bottom side. They're almost going to be 10k gold ahead after this, and Vitality's composition with all the ultis to try and snowball the Camille, it backfired based on the execution in this game and based on very good answers from Fnatic. And suddenly, if you're Vitality, you're already thinking about game 3 now.
Yep.
But you're going to be down 2-0, and this is Vitality on red side. They go all in for the Braum. Typical rule, something we learned from LCK earlier today, is you do not try and use Skarn ult on the Braum. You get punished for it.
Hilly got the Q and the R off before even being caught. Before being punished, got his ult down to help out the rest of Fnatic. And look at this Swain damage. Oh, man. So what was that win streak to Fisher? I told you about a moment ago?
Yeah. It's going to be
14.
14 games.
So this is potentially the 15th in a row. Puts Fnatic on match point. Let that sink in for a moment. 22 kills though, 25 minutes. This has been a wild ride. And Vitality, they still have the late game insurance of a Sivir, but my word, do you have to play safe.
Yeah, and if someone tuned in after the pick and ban phase and they wondered, how on earth did the team get Swain again? Like, what could Vitality possibly ban on red side that could allow Swain to go through? Well, Vitality, Trevor, they banned 3 AD carries. They said, you know what, Reckless is a smart guy, this one. There we go, that's from earlier today. You guys are quick back there, I like it. So, they banned 3 AD carries, but they're kind of forgetting that Fnatic early game is not about Reckless. They don't need him to win, he can just farm. So when they ban all the AD carries and give away Swain and all the big picks, well, they don't really get an advantage in the draft itself.
No, they don't. So Fnatic have got a huge advantage in the bottom lane. They use Brox's ultimate just to zone Vitality away, and Vitality are scrambling for their lives. HP bars already blinking low. Nobody wants to jump into Demonic Ascension Swain, especially one that has Leandri's Aurora and Hourglass. Fnatic break open the base, they don't get the inhib, but they back away safely.
As we have fun with the Swain thing, we still have to mention that this Vitality draft, like, look, they had a very clear game plan in front of them. And the early game from them actually also made sense. Like, they played to mid and top, they got early kills with Gilius, they won the bot lane because they got that first blood, or second blood, I guess it was, onto Reckless.
Yeah.
It was actually looking really good for them. But then we started having a lot of these, like, even trades that happen. And the moment they all in for a bot lane play with Tahm Kench, Taliyah, and it completely backfired, Fnatic stopped the bleeding and took control.
And that's exactly what Fnatic have done. Once they got that Baron, they played the map, they pushed their vision. Vitality are down 10,000 gold at 27 minutes, and the Sivir 500 CS win condition is 200 CS away. So let's see what Vitality can do to dig deep, because another tower's going to fall. This will be the 7th of the game in favor of Fnatic.
Capucha trying to get some pressure on bottom side. Yeah. It's going to take a while before he's even at a turret. All of Fnatic can move forward.
Does have a teleport available. Very good seismic shove there onto Guipo. Two-shot barrage just to try and push that wave down a little more on the Baron Banner empowered cannon minion. Just doing its work on the back end of that inhibitor turret. So another one falls as Fnatic, they continue to apply the pressure. Jizuke's got the Weaver's Wall. He can lock Fnatic's retreat off, and Guipo is low, but Vitality can't find the opportunity yet.
There's sadly for Vitality only one ward near where Fnatic are standing now that could potentially be used as a TP ward. Did it bounce all the way back to base?
It was just about to catch Guipo, so I think it flew all the way to base.
It's probably going to hit him in the face down here. We can wait. Like, give it 10 seconds, see if it comes flying down at some point.
I hope it does.
It should actually, because like, what would stop it? Come on, where's it at?
Maybe it's gone, unfortunately.
Maybe it hit him before. No, something hit him.
The never-ending ricochet.
You saw it hit him.
Finally, I saw the little proc. Yeah, popped up.
We just didn't see it on the screen.
No, unfortunately not.
And Trubeck's weirdly walking towards the Raptor camp.
I always thought it looks like Sivir needs to pee. If you look at the way she runs with this skin, that's what I think. There's a few people here in Berlin that got that one. So, thank you, observers.
I really want to see you run like that.
But either way,
Baron around.
Fisher, Baron has worn off.
Yes.
And Fnatic, they've got exposed inhibitor in the bottom lane, Super's in the top lane. What is the safe way to finish this game out with this monumental lead that they have?
Why do you need a safe way? You're like unkillable at this point. You run at the enemy team, they have one turret to defend them in the mid lane, and you kill them very, very fast. They don't need to play scared or play safe if you're Fnatic. Look at your carries at the moment. This Swain, 10 stacks even on the Dark Seal, man. He doesn't get any better at this point. He's level 16. Flash into the enemy face and kill them.
All right, let's see if they can do it. Flash is available. Gonna push into the bottom inhibitor.
Enemy faces available.
As exposed, I'm looking at flashes on the side of Vitality. Everybody's got it up. The powder cake's not going to do any damage. There's not a lot of minions to work with either. Never move comes down, and Hylissang once again with a very good ulti. Swain's passive pulls Gilius back, and that means he's not going to find the engage. Flash was used defensively. Impale, not used yet. There goes the forward. Fnatic screw the safety. Super's on the top tower. They're forcing Vitality back. Reckless is on a rampage. Bwipo gets another. Vitality are running for their lives. 3 members down already. And Fnatic take down the Nexus turret. Fnatic turn their attention on the Cabo shot. He's going to get the Hextech ultimatum down, but will not be able to get a kill. Capsa's passive pulls him backwards. Everybody from Vitality is being crushed. Only Bwipo, he goes down as Jizuki takes him out. Finally, Reckless shuts him down for the ace. The 20th kill in 30 minutes. The Nexus becomes the focus, and Fnatic are 1 win away from finals.